Ames Community College Board of Trustees meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And first I need approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I would so move.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Do I have a second?
No. I would like to make a motion.
We have a motion on the table, sir. And did I get a second? Okay, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda, please. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I would so move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second that.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Public comment, and I've been advised that we have no one for public comment. First of all, I want to make a statement, just kind of a general statement that Jerry here is our parliamentarian, and I've been speaking with him, and we're going to change the order a little bit. The parliamentary procedure is that we can have, when an action item comes up or any item that we vote on comes up, that we have a motion and then we have discussion. So that's typically how things are done from what I understand. I know over the years that I've done it a little bit differently, but we're going to try to stick more to parliamentary procedure. So, and the other thing is, if something wants to be tabled, when we get to an action item, when we get to that action item and it needs to be tabled, that's when you can make a motion to table it. Presentations from guests and representatives to the board. Excellence at Ames. Shannon. Do we have Shannon in the room?
Yes, we do.
All right.
It's fast. I wasn't ready. Good afternoon, members of the board. As Dean of Students, I continue to be honored to serve in this role of connecting you to the remarkable students and stories that come through the halls of our college. Today is Jeff Thatch, a student with a big heart and big passion. As the slide behind us states, Jeff is very involved on campus. He not only works on campus at the bistro, he also takes a full schedule of classes in communications media, is the treasurer for the Media Production Club, and the founding member and now chair of our brand new Food Sack is what it's called. Another name for the Artie's Pantry Student Advisory Committee. Jeff is super passionate about food insecurity. He wants food, or shall I say the lack of it, to never be the barrier to student success. In fact, I'm proud to announce that he's been selected for a fellowship with the Colorado Young Invincibles, a group endorsed by both the governor and the Colorado Department of Higher Ed. He will talk about that in a minute. And as I've gotten to witness Jeff's difference making at Ames, I decided to ask him to frame his time with us today to tell us why he loves this place, why he spends so many of his hours here, and why this dude is all in. I introduce you to my friend, Jeff Thatch.
So as Shannon said, I was tasked with answering the question, why am I passionate about Ames? And at first I thought, no problem, that's going to be easy. And then I went to write this speech and realized I am overwhelmed with the reasons I'm passionate about this school. I previously attended another two-year school and I graduated with a few degrees, but was given no sense of direction on what to do next. So I spent the next 7 years working, not using my degrees, and wandering around aimlessly. I worked in a couple different kitchens in various management roles. But 2 years after moving to Greeley, my significant other and my rock started taking classes at Ames. She regaled me with stories of this amazing place, and I had to check it out myself. 3 years later, I work here, and I don't ever want to stop taking classes. Ames has given me so many reasons to give back. When the world shut down during the pandemic, while many people felt vulnerable, I felt safe. Ames weathered the pandemic with grace. In my eyes as a student, Ames quickly adapted to a change in the educational landscape. When classes moved remotely with campus closed, I was able to check out a laptop in order to do various projects that require specific, not to mention expensive software. I also received an internet hotspot to make sure I could stay connected while staying safe at home. This made sure that I never fell behind in my classes. As a student employee with campus closed, it seemed like I would be out of a job. Yet Ames continued to pay us through the pandemic. It may have seemed like a waste to some, but to me, it showed loyalty and compassion. Our bistro crew even Zoomed once a week while we were away, just to check in with each other, showing me the sense of tight-knit community that exists here at Ames. I've utilized Artie's Pantry for some time now. I use it as a way to keep things stocked in my kitchen to not only save a trip to stores whose shelves are sometimes depleted, but also to save money in case the world situation became more dire. My usage of Artie's Pantry is ultimately what led me to joining and becoming chair of the Ames Hunger-Free Campus Student Advisory Council. This in turn led to my fellowship with the Young Invincibles. The Young Invincibles mission is simple. They aim to amplify the voices of young adults in the political process and expand economic opportunity for our generation. In this fellowship, we learned about SNAP and supporting student enrollment. We learned about advocating for the Hunger-Free Campus designation. And we were tasked with organizing an event to promote SNAP enrollment, educate on food security and hunger issues, and/or advocating for a hunger-free campus. My personal project is to make an instructional cooking video using ingredients from Artie's Pantry. My goal is to promote the pantry and other available resources for students in need. The quality of education that I have received thus far at Ames, specifically in the comm media department, far surpasses anything I've ever encountered. I'm surrounded by professionals who truly know and care about the subjects they teach. They all have real-world experience that they share, which in turn gives us as students insight into what the industry is like and expects. They're always available to help develop a plan to make sure students are well prepared for life outside of Ames. In short, I'm passionate about Ames because it's my second home. It's given me a place to grow, and it's given me a purpose. It's like my very own Cheers bar, and I'm Norm. Ames has gone all in for its students, and I'm all in for Ames. Thank you.
Well, Jeff, thank you very, very much for being here. Thanks for all you do, and we appreciate it very much. Thanks for your passion for Ames. It's people like you that embody what Ames is all about, and so we love it that you came here and shared your story with us, and keep carrying the message for Ames.
Definitely.
And you can stay and take as many classes as you want. No problem at all. So, in appreciation, I would like to offer this. Oh, I'm sorry. To you, just a small token of our appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, representatives to the board. Student Government Association, Zach McCormick, Executive VP of Finance. Is Zachary with us?
Yes, sir.
There he is.
Good afternoon, Dr. Bornstein, Board of Trustees members. I am Zach McCormick, the Executive Vice President of SGA, and I am standing in for Andrew because he's taking a test in chemistry, and it'd be a bummer if he failed for this meeting. And then Levon will be returning to us next week. Last week, I had the pleasure of meeting a student in the radio department from Golden, which is it's not close. And he told me that that this student drives to Greeley twice a week just for those radio classes, because our radio program is so prominent and so good at preparing students for a career in the radio industry. And then next week, one of our CAP members is running a Thanksgiving meal prep, and that includes 100 bags of things for the upcoming Thanksgiving meal, which also contains a $20 gift card just in case we missed something. Or they prefer ham over turkey, which is wrong, but that's fine. It's whatever. And so that will be taking place on the 15th and 16th at the west entrance of Beatty Hall. And I invite all of you guys to assist in that, because it's a lot of bags and there's only 4 people signed up to help. Please help us. That would be great. Any questions?
Any questions of Zach? So where do we sign up?
All right. So on the 15th, it is from 9 to 1. And then on the 16th, it is 1 to 4. 1 to 4, just so we encompass as many people as possible. And if you want more information, you can email me, Janet Chase, or Riley of the CAP department.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Well, thank you very, very much, Zach. Appreciate you.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a great day. Okay, Ames Faculty Association, Mumita Roy.
So it's a little down here. First and foremost, let me thank Shannon for bringing these incredible students here and the Student Government Association. You inspire us to be better. So just be you and keep doing what you're doing. And also, is it possible to change the order because I have to follow them? Well, hello, and a very good afternoon to Chairperson Axiger, members of the board, President Bornstein, Dr. Rothamer, Dr. Weisgeber, and other cabinet members, colleagues, students, and my friends. It is such a sheer joy to be here and sharing with you the faculty accomplishments. I am constantly impressed and inspired by what our faculty do for our students and how they serve the community. Our faculty continued their pursuit of excellence in teaching professional development, and above all, their service to our students and the broader community. As you will see in the board packet, our faculty attended and presented at a variety of conferences and workshops, starting with Professor of English Brian Seaman and student counselor Catherine Boker. They are presenting at the two-year college English Association on mental health and creative writing issues this fall. This especially stands out to me because individuals from different departments came together to collaborate because our goal is the same. How can we help our students? How can we serve them? How can I match their standards? Adjunct instructor of English and writers community coach, Jeff Moser, served as the chair and moderator of the session panel, Science Fiction, Literature and Folk, for the 74th Rocky Mountain Modern Language Association. Also, Professor of English, Kendra Griffin, attended the Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers Conference and presented 3 creative writing sessions on character arc, metacognitive strategies for self-editing, and character dynamics. And I have to give kudos to Deborah Baker. She's the adjunct instructor of early childhood education. She presented a paper titled From Blithely Ignorant Racist to an Anti-Racist Ally, A Personal Journey, at the American Association of Teaching and Curriculum Conference in Albuquerque this fall. What a powerful representation of AIMS and its values and missions at the national stage. On that note, adjunct instructor of English, Elizabeth Hiscox, who is also the managing editor and the co-founder for Tram Editions Chapbook Press, released their first poetry collection called Paper and Stick. Elizabeth is a prolific writer, and her poetry will appear in the Global Vaccine Poetry Anthology. And if you want, at some point, you might want to do a Google search which says Dear Vaccine and look at the community submissions of poems and thoughts from all over the world. And speaking of dedication to our students and to AIMS, Associate Professor of English and Speech, Leslie Morrison, attended the International Writing Centers Association conference to support our students, staff, and faculty in her role as the Writing Center Faculty Coordinator. And last but not the least, and this is my favorite, Kendra Griffin continues to volunteer in her community by hosting monthly creative writing sessions for the Clearview Library. And that's not it. In November, she will be presenting a poetry workshop for participants with paralysis through a grant-funded arts program at Connections in Greeley, a center for independent living. What truly moved me was her thoughtfulness, her kindness, and her caring for our students, which goes beyond the classroom. She is directly engaging with the community. And her work is in direct alignment with AIMS' mission, provide knowledge and skills to advance quality of life, economic vitality, and overall success of the diverse communities we serve. We all needed that reminder. She is truly inspiring. Our faculty are doing wonderful things to help our students. But before I close, I have to thank the board. I have to thank our president. I have to thank our cabinet members. I have to thank our students and everyone here at AIMS for giving faculty the space to grow and thrive and to help them what they do the best, serve our students. Do you have any questions for me? I'm so excited to come back next time, but for now, any questions?
Okay, any questions for now?
Whether you're smiling.
Oh, I am. I'm
Any
always
questions?
smiling.
Okay, well, I don't see any questions, so I just want to thank you for your report. We thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next is
Ames Staff Association.
Jen Seedorf.
Good afternoon, Chair Axigar, members of the board, Dr. B. Nice to be with you as always. I have a short and sweet report for you. I think everyone is getting ready for some good holidays and just kind of starting to wind down hopefully a little bit and enjoy some time off. Today, I would like to highlight a Ripple nomination. Of course, it's in your packet. This one is for Allison Byerly in the Marcom division. She was nominated by Chad Soroka, who is a reprographics technician. Chad says, I am submitting this Ripple nomination for Allison Byerly. On Tuesday, October 19th, it was a crazy busy day, and there was an important job that was needing to be completed. I made a mistake where the job needed to be redone, which set me back a little, and I felt like things were falling into complete chaos. Through Allison's busy schedule, she constantly came by to check up and see if there was anything that she could do to help me. This was greatly appreciated, and I feel it would be good to have her helpfulness recognized, not just this time, but every time that we have a big multi-step job. She is always offering to help and see what she might be able to do. Thanks, Allison, you rock. I personally have worked with Allison and she does rock. I really appreciated this nomination by Chad because it just goes to show that compassion and understanding go a long way when someone is having a hard day. And this Ripple is just one of many, highlighting the support and compassion here at Ames among staff and faculty. We lend a hand on the tough days, and we definitely celebrate the big and the small wins with each other. Finally, as we come up on this Thanksgiving holiday, on behalf of the Staff Association, I would just like to sincerely thank the board, Dr. B, and Cabinet for all of your support and encouragement thus far in this semester. We wish you all a happy, healthy, and delicious Thanksgiving. And that's all I have for today. Any questions?
Appreciate the delicious. Looking forward to it. Any questions of Jen?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving to you, Jen. Okay, action items. Action item A, Board of Trustees priorities for 2021-22. Okay, you have it in your packet, and do I have a motion to approve action item A? Thank you, Jean. Anyone else? Second?
Second.
Okay, sorry, Ray, I didn't hear you. We have a second. Okay, is there any discussion? Heidi?
On item B and then sub B, support Ames, CEO, President, maintaining contract lobbying position and its function. Can you give me an example of how we?
BB, support Ames CEO President
And
by
maintaining contract lobbying position.
and its function. Help me out.
Yeah, so
I'll bet Dr. B will help out here. Yeah.
so I think that was put on last year because we wanted to ensure and make sure that Ames has a contract lobbyist, and to the extent that the board wants to be involved in certainly advocacy at the state level, that position includes and reaches out to the board when, like, there might need to be a testifying or something along those lines. So Chuck Jensen has, a year and a half ago, taken over the government affairs responsibilities. So he works directly with Tonette Salazar, who's been our contract lobbyist for several years. And it was there to ensure that connection between the board and any advocacy on a state level.
Thank you, Dr. B. Any other discussion, questions?
Just a comment.
Dr. Ray?
I mean, that same statement was in there last year, but it didn't directly address the lobbying, as I recall. It was that the board was, I don't remember now the exact wording, but the board was to support as best they could the lobbying efforts or something like that, or the legislative interests of the institution. I mean, it's just a little change of words, it seems to me.
Yeah,
We didn't change the words, but we can change the words if you want to.
No, I didn't realize it was that specific. I thought it was more general. Last year was what my comment was. I'm fine. I'm just
okay. Yeah, that's
babbling,
fine.
I guess.
Yep, that's why we have this discussion. So, anything else? No? We'll call the question then. All in favor of approving action item A, Board of Trustees priorities for 2021-22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you very much. Action item B, CEO President's goals for 2021 to 22. Dr. Bornstein.
So as I mentioned before, typically we would have this conversation, in June over the summer when we had our retreat. However, August started and we, myself and cabinet, we needed to focus our direction. So we pulled from the strategic plan those initiatives this year that we wanted to highlight for the board. And we're presenting that for you today. The letter D and E are added on. They are not strategic plan items, but items that we're proposing for this year, certainly that we need to certainly make sure are a goal for us, particularly letter E, which is leading the institution through the continued pandemic and post-pandemic phases that we've talked to you about before, called the pillars, those 5 pillars. So this is what we're presenting to you today as the CEO goals for this year.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. B. Are there any questions? Any comments? Okay, do I have a motion to approve action item B?
I motion to approve action item B. I'll second.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'll second.
okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that motion carries. Okay, next is action item C, the CEO President's contract.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would make a motion to table action item number 7C to give the full board a chance to further discuss the details of the contract at a future, whether it's December executive session meeting or later.
I'll second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to table action item C. Discussion.
On a table, I don't think we discussed it.
You don't. It's a motion. We'll discuss it.
If the motion is to postpone it, that is slightly different than to table it. So to table it, there would be no discussion. It would just go straight to a vote.
So there's no discussion.
There's no discussion. It would just go straight to a vote.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. We have a motion and a second to table. And according to our parliamentarian, there is no discussion. We go straight to a vote.
I'm not just asking. Make sure I know what the motion is. When you table it, then there's no
discussion.
There's no date for bringing it back. It's gone forever.
So the correct terminology is set aside.
It's
To table. My motion was to table it.
So you just want it to go away.
In the Senate, that means it's killed.
Okay. You,
And you can add a specific date that you would like it tabled to clarify your motion if you'd like. So you could certainly,
I think he
Okay,
said,
I thought I did, to the
I don't think you
December
can-
executive session.
I don't think you can add a
You
table, a date to a table in
It's
motion.
just got to be a flat statement.
It's either up or down, period.
You want to withdraw it and then resubmit it?
right, if you want it at a specific date, trustee Peterson's correct. It would be to postpone it until an executive session at the December board meeting. That would be, if that's your desire, that's the motion that you would need to make.
Well, I'm assuming that, we can come up with, same topic and it can be proposed for a future agenda. It's dropped today, but that's not to say it couldn't be put on a future agenda.
That's true.
Right, that's
That's
true.
true. It could be tabled and it can be pulled off the table.
Could be at any time, December, January, July, whenever it come up again, if you chose to do so.
okay.
So
Jerry, would you give us a clarification of the motion then?
Yes, so the motion as it stands right now is to table this item. So if you're wishing to table it, there is no date certain needed. It can be brought off the table at any time at a future meeting. So the current motion is to table the item. And we have a second for that motion.
Okay, and we have to go straight to a vote. And then if it needs to come back on the agenda, we just put it on a future agenda.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. So there is no discussion. So all in favor of tabling this, taking it off the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
And
All right. Do we have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Hout,
yes,
trustee O'Hara,
Yes.
trustee Peterson,
no,
trustee Wendell,
No,
chair Oxiger.
No. Motion fails. Okay, do I have a motion to approve action item C, the president's contract?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I would move that we approve item 7C, agenda item 7C, President's contract.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
yes, Mr. Chair, I have some comments to make, if they may be a comment.
Please.
On that, thank you. The vote on the president's contract is the most important decision a board member will make in one's tenure. This is a primary role as a trustee and a critical business decision for the college's mission, direction, and stability. My constituents expect a decision would be made after thoughtful study, consideration of all aspects and the needs of the college and its president in order to craft a leadership agreement that is best for all concerned. This board was never informed nor voted to engage with new contract with the president. There was no discussion on the process for this type of engagement, along with no policy or procedure for the board to follow. I'm not sure how the chair of Cindy had the authority to proceed without permission from the board. No informative courtesy was shared to us until after the fact. For some reason, a vote on the contract has been presented as an urgent matter, yet the contract does not expire for 18 months. I cannot move forward on a vote until we are given the opportunity to study and understand the scope of this contract. This board is made up of a very bright and talented individuals. Rushing on of this vote on this contract does not allow the board to carry out its fiduciary responsibility to the community and to Ames College. I cannot move forward until we as a board have opportunity to discuss the contract
in private executive session, where the board is free to understand and weight the strengths of the contract or determine recommendations for changes of the contract. I cannot move forward until we have not had the opportunity to discuss specifics of the contract with an attorney without partiality. Can be the contract advisor to the board. This must be someone with contract experience, someone without close relationships to the college. There are parts to this contract that are nearly triple in scope of what, and I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about the contract in specifics, but I'm just saying there are parts of this contract that have not been studied fully by this board. And I would like to have that opportunity. I think it's sad that we have had this placed on us in barely a month and a half with very little comment to be provided. It seems like it's already been said and done. I just feel sad about this. I wish we would take a moment, take a breath. There's no urgency. We have 18 months. We have actually 6 months to renew this contract comfortably for any president. I just see this as a rush, and it should be slowed down a bit. What's the urgency? We should have more information. We should be able to ask questions. That's my thoughts on this. It's
Thank
just
you.
been hurried.
Any other comments?
Yes. I feel like we have the responsibility to our constituents to assure that we've completed due diligence in a thorough manner. And I don't feel that we've had the opportunity to do that. Yes, we had a brief conversation with Dr. Bornstein and yourself and myself, and I believe another board member. I think a better process would include some detailed discussion in an executive session with board members only to review some of the data, whether it has to do with compensation, term, or whatever.
That's it. Okay. Any other comments? Heidi?
My first time reviewing the contract and so forth, or being part of this, it is a big decision. I do wish we had more opportunity to meet as a board all together with an attorney to even review it even further. That's just my comment. I wish we would have had a little bit more time to review.
Anyone else?
We do have more time.
I would.
Point of order.
I would comment, Mr. Chairman, if I may, that I understand what's being said, but you know, what we're doing is we're simply extending a contract that we've had in effect for ever since Dr. B has been here, 6 years. And I think it's very appropriate that we do extend it. And I think, as everybody heard at a meeting, Dr. B is looking at like 5 years and then maybe going off and trustee. God, I forget names just sure as heck when I get to it. Heidi, Trustee Heidi talked about she's going fishing or something like that. And I think due to the job that our president has done, the pressure that she's been under, the difficult situation in the last 2 years requires or not requires, but should be rewarded. And I think that the way to do that is to simply extend the contract, make sure that she's here for 5 years. We don't want her leaving. She's done the job that we asked her to do. And there's not a whole lot of difference between this contract and what she's had for the last 6 years. There's some number differences, granted, but then that's part of the process and part of the reward. So I would hope that we pass it, Mr. Chairman, and I certainly intend to vote in that way.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. I guess it's my turn. Thank you all for your comments. They're all thoughtful. They're all passionate. This contract is a renewal. It's an extension. This contract's been in effect for several years. We should all be very familiar with this contract. What is done with this contract is to extend it and to make some changes to it to catch it up with cost of living increases and the legal requirements for us on things like federal benefits relative to 401ks. It was out of date and it needed updated. And that was the intent of this contract. That's what's outlined in this contract. Aside from the extension of it. And we went to the extent to get some clarifications on that and included that that one trustee in particular had. The other concerns were, I need more time and I need more information, to which there was no specific time or no specific information given. I just want to say that this contract was discussed. It was discussed in executive session and it was discussed in our retreat. There was no time limit on the executive session. We exhausted all the questions that came up that day. I feel there was plenty of time to discuss it in detail with one another. We were elected as trustees to make decisions. And I think to have had the opportunity to review this contract for the past 6 years, in my case, Dr. Ray, you've been with us a couple of years longer, but and some of us a little shorter, but we've all been here at least 2 years and had plenty of opportunity to review this contract. So to just bring the changes to it, I think we had more than enough opportunity and more than enough time to review it and give it some thought and discuss it amongst us. So for me, I just want to say up front that I'm excited to have the opportunity to support the renewal of Dr. Bornstein's contract. As I consider the incredible amount of projects that have been accomplished, the progress on our strategic plan, the amazing enrollment numbers that we've seen and the positive atmosphere that is continuously observed across our campus, I look forward myself to more of the same. As I sit in our board meetings, just as today, each and every monthly meeting and listen to the comments made by my colleagues on the board, I'm always encouraged to hear nothing but positive remarks, complimenting our students, our faculty, our staff, our cabinet. Teachers and administrators love working here. Students love learning here. All of this does not happen without remarkable leadership. Dr. Bornstein has demonstrated that remarkable leadership. One staff member recently remarked that Dr. Bornstein has brought Ames into the 21st century and allowed us to spread our wings. I, for one, am excited to see Ames continue on the current course of success and community service. I look forward to having Dr. Bornstein complete the current strategic plan over the next 2 years and lead us then in the development of the next plan to carry Ames into the future. Again, I'm excited to support the approval of Dr. Bornstein's contract with Ames College. Again, thank you all for your comments. So with that,
May I rebut for a moment?
oh, of course, Mark.
Thank you. You said this contract's basically equal to the last. And other than, normal increases in salary, which are, I'm not in that zone of worry there. I do want to point out something, and I'll show you, and then I'll show you the board members. This one area, since we're not allowed to share this with the public, you can just look at it. See this number and that number? See that number? See this number and that number?
Yeah.
That's a different number. Leah, do you know what you're talking about here? This number here.
Yeah.
And then that number there.
That's my current contract.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe
Yes.
that. But that number's
Different.
substantial,
Yes,
okay.
it is.
right? Just so you can see it.
Yeah, look at the title of it.
Lean over this. We have, this is the proposed contract. This is that area discussion. This is that number. This is the same area on the original contract. That's that number. It's not the same contract. This is a number that's part of today's contract proposal. This is where it never went past on the previous. So the contracts are significantly different. I'm just saying, we can make this decision in 2 months, we can make it in 6 months.
Have a seat, Mark.
But the bottom line is, you want a comfortable board. I would think that would be the most important. And that's
Okay.
all I'm asking.
We're going to talk about the contract, Mark.
Go ahead.
That's not the same contract. This is there are changes in the contract. That's why there are changes. So, Dr. Ring, did you have something? Okay.
Trying to catch up.
Okay, I'm going to call a question. We've all had plenty of opportunity to discuss this, to review it, to make our comments here. I'm going to call a question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. I don't think there's any question.
It was I, sorry.
Okay, you were an aye. Jerry, did you get that?
Yes, that was cool. Thank
Okay,
you.
motion carries. Thank you very much. I got too much paper here. Apologize to everybody. Action item D. Oops. I'm sorry, hold on. I got too many papers here, folks. Yes, action item D, new health and fitness certificate, Dr. Rothamer.
Thank you, Chair Oxiger, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein. Before you is action item 7D, health and fitness certificate. Last month, Dean Anderson and Director Smiley presented to you 3 different certificates and shared with you the rationale and need for these certificates that we are bringing forward to you today. The fiscal impact I want to highlight for this first one goes with the second one and the third one as well. So there are no additional costs that are necessary in the immediate future for these certificates. We currently have the personnel and equipment needed to launch the program. The program will begin through our Career Academy as a pilot with relatively small cohort between 12 and 18 students. And we anticipate, based on the initial need assessments, that this will grow. So our administrative recommendation is for the board approval of the new academic certificate entitled Health and Fitness Certificate.
Any questions? Oh, motion, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to approve action item D?
I motion that we approve action item number 7D.
Second.
We have a motion as a second. Thank you. Any questions of Dr. Rothamer?
Discussion.
Discussion? Any discussion? Okay, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Action item E, new exercise specialist certificate. Dr. Rothamer, you're up again.
Thank you, Chair Oxiger. So action item 7E, exercise specialist certificate. Same information applies regarding fiscal impact. And so our administrative recommendation is to approve the new academic certificate entitled exercise specialist.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve action item E?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve action item 7E.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second that motion.
We have a second. Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. Thank you very much. Action item F, new exercise and health specialist certificate. And once again, Dr. Rothamer.
Thank you, Chair Oxiger. For this action item, this exercise specialist certificate, as we shared last month, is basically a combination of the first two certificates. There is also no fiscal impact, so our administrative recommendation is for the board to approve the health and exercise specialist certificate.
Hey, do I have a motion to approve action item F?
I make a motion to approve action item F.
And do I have a second?
I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I would just like to make a comment, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I
sir.
may. I said this last time, and I want to say it again, that I think these are three really good programs. And I think we keep talking about how we're really responding to the community and trying to keep a step ahead of what's needed. And I just can't help but think these three are going to just do wonders for that kind of a mission. And I congratulate you and the staff and everybody. This is right on, right on.
Thank you. And the team has done a remarkable job in working with our partners and quite honestly ensuring that pipeline and starting, the Career Academy.
It's great.
And I would certainly echo those comments. After having a recent surgery and everything, and going through some follow-up, I guess, maintenance, repair. And talking to some of the people there, and I mentioned what we're doing here, and they were super excited. They said, "Oh my gosh, this is so needed in this area." So that's great. Appreciate it very much. So, okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion is carried.
Thank you for your
Okay,
support.
thank you, Dr. Rothman. Okay, information items. First is the calendar. Things that we have come up with is the volunteering at the Well Food Bank. If you can possibly get out and help with that, it's awesome cause. And of course, November 26th, 24th, 26th, we'll close for Thanksgiving. And then 26th to December 3rd is Festival of Trees at the Union Colony Civic Center. I'm not sure what something is still to be announced or to be determined. Does anyone know what that is?
Yes, the time, the specific time of the event. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're interested in that, be sure and check with Jerry about updating us. December 10th is the VIP, just a little event going on here at the college with the ribbon cutting at the new Welcome Center. Hopefully a couple of you will be there. And then again on December 11th is the continued open house to the general public. So look forward to seeing all of you there. It's a super exciting event. Been a long time coming. I'm sure most of you, or a good number of you, have had a tour, and certainly we've all been watching it. So I'm super excited about that. December 15th will be our Board of Trustees meeting here at Beatty Hall Theater at 1:30, and the 20th, to the 31st of December. The college is closed for winter break. Any questions on the calendar as far as it's out there?
Chair Oxiger, if I could.
Yes, please.
Just as a reminder for the November 19th event at the World Food Bank, if you are interested in going, please let me know by November 16th at noon. Thank you, Trustee Wendell. I'll put that down.
Okay. Anything else on the calendar? Heidi.
So are we supposed to be here at 9 a.m. December 10th? Or are we in with the general public? I mean, are we allowed?
You are most definitely a VIP. So yes, I'm going to look at Zach actually. Where is Zach?
Right behind you.
What time do you want? You want 9 or do you want a little bit before? At 9.
Okay. Next on information items, I have a note here on the it's a special program from the school over at the Winograd School. It's the Harold S. Winograd K-8 school. And I just want to read a note here that I got. It's called Give Thanks to Our Heroes and Helpers. If you'll bear with me, I'll read this. And if any of you knew Harold S. Winograd, he was an incredible individual, very interested in education, very interested in helping the kids in the community. Harold S. Winograd K-8 school was founded on the principle of giving. In fact, Mr. Winograd, the school's namesake, had a saying, "Give until it feels good." Collectively, as a school, we often give of our time and resources to support local organizations, charities, and groups. Students at every grade level complete a community service project at some point during the course of each school year. Giving to neighbors, friends, and those in need is what makes Greeley a wonderful community. All of the students and staff at Harold S. Winograd K-8 school want to recognize you and your organization as some of our local heroes and helpers. We appreciate everything you do to serve the residents of Greeley and the surrounding areas. This year, our school's theme is Where the Road to Success Begins with One Open Door. We see how you open doors for individuals in our community each and every day so that they may journey forward, feeling uplifted and encouraged. Please accept this gift as a thank you from the students and staff at Harold S. Winograd K-8 school. We are grateful for your decision to serve our community and are blessed each and every day by the work that you do. We hope that you and your loved ones have a wonderful Thanksgiving season. I want to read an example of one of the thank you notes. So there are several here that we received from one of the students. It says, Dear Dr. Bornstein, I appreciate the work you've done in our community. Your dedication to Ames has made the school a wonderful place to be. By being a president at Ames, you've benefited the school in many ways, and I'd like to thank you for all you've done. Hopefully, I will see you again one day. And it's signed Sarai. Another one. Dear Dr. Bornstein and Ames, thank you for opening opportunities for people who don't have any options for college. You help a lot of people I know and seen, so I would like to say thank you. And I don't see a signature on that one. So there are several of these here, and if you'd like, I can just pass them around, or you can come up and look at them after the meeting, whatever you'd like. What an awesome communication. We appreciate it very, very much. I love getting things like that, hearing things like that. Okay, information item C, ACCT Annual Conference Debrief. I'm sorry. Oh, I missed one. Trustee election update. I'm sorry. Megan, are you here? There you are.
I'm here. Waiting for this moment. All right, well, good afternoon. I have just an update from our election. So we had one job, so I'm not going to screw it up now. So as it was listed on the ballot, Marilyn Schock had a total of 15,721 votes for 43.27%. Ryan P. Smith had a total of 9,138 votes for a total of 25.15%. And Carl A. Alm had a total of 11,473 votes for a total of 31.58%. So with that said, the next steps are on November 24th. The counties will notify me that they have certified the election, which means they have gotten the official abstract of votes. And then on November 25th, I can notify the successful candidates of their office. And sorry, I forgot one for District D. Jean O'Hara had a total of 30,582 votes for 100%.
Tough, right?
All right. Didn't miss anybody.
So that's the next thing. Thanksgiving, I get to notify everybody, and that doesn't change. They work over Thanksgiving, so something different. So anyway, there you go. That's your update.
Thank you very much, Megan. Okay, next is the ACCT Annual Conference Debrief. Trustees Mark, Hout, and Heidi Wendell, if you would like some time to tell us a little bit more about your conference. I know you had an opportunity to kind of get the highlights last time, and so we thought we'd offer the opportunity to tell us a little bit more if you have any.
Do you have anything you want to add? It was a good conference. It was smaller in scope. It was smaller in scope, but as broad in content, I would say. There were some good programs on Dallas school districts are, doing some real, my dealer with CTE and concurrent enrollment, and then also PTEC. I think that's a terminology, but they're doing some really neat programs with inner city kids. I mean, these are they're not the richest kids in town. And they're doing busing to and from their school districts to the college. for some of the programs. They also do the early on start programs in 9th and 10th grade. And then they ramp the kids up right on campus, 11th and 12th. They say busing is not a problem because they have a good networking system that way. I did go to all the Pam Fisher's programs and learned as much as I could about trusteeship. Let's just say that. And there's a lot of good people out there. You know, it's really nice to have that confluence of fellow trustees, having the small conversations, the large conversations, the walkabouts. Some nice dinners out with Heidi and my wife, Anita. We went to the shoreline a couple times and had a burger, had some fish dinners, and it was a beautiful campus. We went kind of splurged for some steak first night, but that was okay. We had a good time. You know, it was full. Your day was full. I didn't, you know, I think I missed one that I couldn't go to because I wanted to go to the other one. So it's one of those, you know, you just try to hit as many of the subjects as you can that, you know, tickle your fancy or seem to be interesting. I'm very fortunate to go to those. I think they're a strong tipping point connector as far as getting the water flowing into your thought process about what being a trustee is all about. And it's nice to share stories and see beautiful cities. Ideas and beautiful cities too, because San Diego is a pretty town. I didn't get it over to Coronado. I used to go over and hang out there with an old buddy. My wife Anita went to school at University of San Diego on Point Loma up on top of the hill.
Really?
Yeah, she went to school there for 2 years. And so that was, we didn't get there. It was pretty tight schedule. I don't think we had enough time to travel. Unless we would have spent Sunday there. Go ahead, Heidi. Tuesday night through Saturday morning.
Oh.
That's the longest I've ever been at one of those puppies. I did. Well, and then in fact, I forgot to put on, I had to pay for my one conference. It's $150. Put that down. I know, I gotta get the rent's not.
Mr. Kent.
I know.
Thank you, Mark.
Go ahead, Heidi.
Want to say it was very fun with Mark and his wife Anita, and I'd like to thank Ames Community College for sending me there. It was my first conference. I absolutely loved it. The conference was primarily on diversity, equity, and inclusion, which I really, really enjoy. I went to a lot of different types of seminars from directly on diversity, equity, inclusion. Had tears in my eyes a few times. I mean, it's really amazing what people don't realize. I went to a conference or a seminar on community colleges and how they've entered into the local prison system. And I don't know if I said the percentages of people that are released from prison and return to prison is like 70%. And they found that if community colleges and you go into the prisons and those people graduate, 62% will never return to prison. I mean, it's a black and white. It's just amazing. And it brings up their self-confidence. They're productive human beings. I went to another conference, community college in, I believe, Farmington, New Mexico. And they are doing on-campus housing. And that's just because people have to travel 1.5 to 2 hours one way just to get to classes. And then at home, it's, a lot of times their homes aren't perfect for studying. So they're trying to do that. That's something different. Another community college, unlike Ames Community College, was going down in the dumps primarily financially. And an African-American woman was the CEO president of an all-white community college in Oregon or Washington, took the the rain, the bull by the horns, and has totally turned around the community college. So there was just a lot of energy, positive energy, a lot of discussions. And on a personal note, I really got to know Mark and his wife. Wonderful, wonderful people. And once again, thank you. The place was beautiful. Conference was amazing, and I'm looking forward to others. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Always appreciate hearing about these conferences.
I don't know.
What we bring back. So thanks again for those reports. Okay, next is Community College National Legislative Summit. Mr. Jerry, you're up.
Thank you, Chair Oxiger. I just wanted to take time just to briefly remind you about that upcoming event. On October the 29th, I had sent out an email to everybody just with the link where you could find more information about that event. But I wanted to again take the time today just to remind you about it. And it's the Community College National Legislative Summit. The focus of this event is much more on lobbying and less on professional development sorts of things like the conference was in San Diego that you attended. So just have that in mind when you're considering whether or not to attend. Again, I'll probably send out another reminder email this Friday just with the link there for you to be able to follow that link and get some more information. If you are interested in attending, I'll need to know that by December the 6th. So just keep that in mind as well. It's a hard deadline in order to get everybody registered in time.
Jerry, what are the dates to that?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that is important. I missed that. February 6th through February 9th. And it will be in Washington, D.C.
Okay, you want to just continue?
Mike, meeting and retreat dates.
Sure, of course. Let me go ahead and pull them up here. All right. So as a note, this is just a discussion and information about this item. Action on the dates for next year will be taken at the December meeting, so no action is needed today, just a discussion of those dates. In the packet, we have a calendar of proposed dates. So far it's proposed to continue to have the meetings at 1:30 p.m. On the second Wednesday of each month. You will note that the meetings in February, March, and April are being proposed to be held on the first Wednesdays of the month due to other scheduling conflicts. So in February, the second Wednesday would overlap with the potential legislative conference if anybody attends that. For March, there's a conference as well that Dr. Bornstein will be attending. And then in April, I know Trustee Wendell has a conference proposed as well. So those we're recommending take place on the first Wednesday of the month. Everything else would be on the second Wednesday of the month. We have also scheduled the board retreat for January 25th. So that will be an all-day retreat. And then proposed dates for a June retreat on the 21st and 22nd. And again, we just ask that between now and the December meeting that you all take a look at your calendar and make sure that those dates work. And action will be taken at that December meeting.
And Dr. Peterson, we checked on December already, so you're covered there. We got ahead of you this time after 8 years. We finally beat you to one. Okay. Any questions on those dates? And if you do have any conflicts, be sure and let Jerry know, okay? Next is new trustee orientation, and that we talked about this in the retreat about we all felt that there probably needed to be a little more involvement in the new trustee orientation. So Jerry, you got some information on that?
I do. Thank you, Chair Oxiger. As was mentioned by Chair Oxiger, it was discussed in the retreat, possible ways to potentially beef up the orientation process and provide more information during that process for our new trustees. And so we took a look at that in preparation for the new member that will be joining you all at the December meeting. So you'll find in your packet an outline, a proposed outline for this year's orientation. As a note, there wasn't really a formal orientation process until 2015 for new members. And since then, the process has continually been revamped and evolved and become more robust throughout time. And this year's no exception. So again, we took a hard look at this before beginning the planning process for it, just to make sure that it was truly what it needed to be to get the new member prepared for their first meeting. So typically, this orientation process takes place after the election has taken place, end of November through January, and it's really up to the comfort level and the preferences of that new member, whether it's a one-day, 4 or 5 hour chunk, or broken up into more manageable bits throughout that 2 or 3 month period. And so we do try to leave it up to the member and their preference for that. But we are currently in the scheduling process for the new member who will be joining you in December. And you'll notice in your packet kind of a rough outline of the sorts of topics that will be discussed. 5 main topics, topic areas, and then of course the January retreat at the end of January. They're not in preference order necessarily, but I can certainly outline that it is our preference to have the one-on-one with that new member and Dr. B, have the one-on-one with myself and the new member, and have the one-on-one with Chair Oxiger and the new member prior to their installment at the December 15th meeting. And then the other 2 items with legal counsel and with the cabinet can be scheduled as it can be before their first meeting in February. Yes, Trustee Linda.
It looks great. I would love to meet with Marilyn, just because I still feel like a new member and it's still very new to me of the items that I'm still learning and what she should look out for if she has questions, or I could tell her what I had a hard time understanding. I think it's so fresh in my mind. I'm hoping I could at least have a cup of coffee with her. Hopefully that would help.
Awesome. Okay, anything else?
There was a request to get contact information to reach out and welcome and set up coffee. And we're going to get that to you as soon as she is comfortable. If she's comfortable before she's being sworn in, certainly. And but then obviously after she's sworn in, then that would be.
Okay, any questions? Okay, hearing none. Next on the agenda is CEO and the President's report. Dr. Bornstein.
Thank you, sir. Do we need a break or are we good to keep going?
Oh. Do we need a break?
No, we're good to keep going. Okay. Sounds good. Well, then I would like to invite Dr. Rothmar to come up and give some highlights on the Executive Vice President and Chief Academic Officers divisions, please. Oh, there you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bornstein, Chair Oxiger, members of the board. I have one item I would like to share with you today, and it's from the document that's in your packet. And quite honestly, it is so powerful, and not everyone may have seen this, and I'd like to take the opportunity to read it so that everyone can hear yet again another highlight of what our staff and faculty have done to truly go above and beyond due to COVID impacts that you can't necessarily plan for. I mean, you're always ready to be flexible, but to me, this is the epitome of people coming together and solving an issue for our students. And this comes from our Allied Health and Wellness Division, submitted by Dean Anderson. So in order to complete the AIMS Nurse Aid program, students are required to complete 30 clinical hours at a partner clinical site in order to practice required skills. Approximately 5 hours, so 5 hours before these clinicals were supposed to start in the fall of 2021 semester, our partner sites were forced to go into lockdown due to COVID. And so we're unable to host our students in those clinical opportunities. So with the surrounding uncertainty, no alternative sites were available for our students to earn those clinical hours. And special thanks to the State Board of Nursing in Colorado, as well as our nurse aid faculty in terms of creating a clinical simulation for the students here at Ames so that they could come together and earn those skills. So again, the students were able to come to Ames based on what the staff and faculty did to recreate what typically happens at the clinical sites. And normally we cannot do that, but because of the relationship with the State Board of Nursing that we have and the recognition of those implications, we were able to provide that to our students. And in your packet, I won't go over the two student reflections and compliments to our staff and faculty, but certainly wanted to note to you as this kind of a general theme of what happens here to continue the success of our students as a priority and going above and beyond of our folks. So that's the one item I wanted to share with you today, and happy to answer any questions on what we put in your packet.
Thank you, Dr. Rothamer.
Thank you.
And Chuck Jensen is going to share some highlights from administrative services as well as the monthly budget update, some Welcome Center naming recognition progress, as well as some updates on the Windsor campus construction projects. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, you have before you the budget report as of September 30th, 2021. This is the third month of the fiscal year. And as I go through looking through the revenues and expenditures, things are on track. Tuition is coming in a little stronger than we had projected, so that's a good thing. And the expenditures are on track. So I have nothing to report to alert the board on the budget report for September 30th. I'll stand for any questions on this report. Okay. Seeing none, I'll move to something that's very exciting. Not that budgets aren't exciting, but this is really exciting. This is an update on our naming and recognition of our Welcome Center, Student Commons, and campus buildings. And exciting to report that just within the last 24 hours, Kelly and her team began to work with a donor for a $2 million donation or a contribution for a naming right of our auditorium. So don't have specifics. We're still working through all the logistics on that, but that'll come to the board in December for your action to approve the naming of that facility, of that space. And so per board policy. So as we've looked back over the history of Ames, at this point, a gift of that nature is the single largest gift ever made to Ames Community College. And so very exciting. Congratulations to Kelly and her team and all the support from all the tours and Mike and his team give and Dr. Bornstein. I mean, it's a multifaceted approach to fundraising. And that's not all of it. We currently have 5 naming opportunities that have been selected and 7 recognition items. And so we're closing in on about $2.5 million in total money received and committed. So that's a really good start for the first 6 weeks or 2 months of this project. And as of yesterday, we've sold 80 chairs in the auditorium. So again, that'll continue to be a progress or a project that will continue on within the Welcome Center auditorium. So very exciting news and more to come on that. So thank you for that. And at this time, I'd like to bring Michael Millsap, our Executive Director of Facilities, and David Mont, our Assistant Director of Facilities, to give the board a brief update of the progress we're making on the Windsor campus academic building, excuse me, and Simulate City. So Mike, I'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, board. Chair Oxinger, who's absent momentarily, Dr. Bornstein. Thank you for having us. We'd like to kind of give you a little more
expanded version of the Windsor campus. If you remember in September, I had David with me as well. We provided you with some updates on our facilities plan. So in this case, and I believe in your board packet, you did receive all the images as well. So you were able to go through those. So I think with brevity in mind, we can go through some of those. You've seen the images. And then at the end, we're happy to follow up with questions. So in respect of kind of going back and forth, I'll follow my slides here and David, if you don't mind. So another wonderful campus, another wonderful supported project by you all. And just before we get started in Windsor, David and I just found out we have this amazing event on December 10th. And I found out from Zach that we have until 8:59 that morning to open those doors, right?
Aren't you funny?
All right. Okay. All right. So moving forward. So Windsor, what an amazing project again, right? So in the background for over a year, we've been starting to put Windsor together, and we brought an architect on, a general contractor, and we started talking with program staff, and there's nothing more exciting than to get all these pieces together and come up with a design. Why are we doing this? A classroom building, expanding the training facilities. It's always exciting. They never get old. So we kind of talked about programming probably 3 or 4 years ago as part of the strat plan. We came up with some dates. So far, we're sticking to those dates. So it's fall of 20, again, I talked about getting involved in the programming. And we're going to start construction right now around February 1st of 22. So we're excited for that, with completion then for fall of 23 semester. We'll go through a few images here. If you don't mind, thanks, sir. So again, these were in your packet. But as we come further along and we're in the CD set process, we're at 50% CD, you're starting to see more images of the building. So 3-story building. Go ahead. So we're giving you multiple perspectives of the east elevation, north elevation, southwest. Kind of gives you an idea as we kind of take you around the building. Go ahead, next one. You drive by at night, that's what it'll look like, right? Kind of a lantern, they say. Go ahead, next slide, David. So as you approach the building from the east, that's kind of what that would look like as well. Next slide. One of my favorites is this open courtyard concept.
That's from the north?
That is from looking from the north, yeah. So we're starting to bring Windsor, like we've brought Greeley together, with kind of a promenade, a walkway, a very dominant presence as far as how to get to one building to another. So very exciting. Next slide. Again, they kind of labeled it as the porch, but again, what an awesome opportunity for a student hangout space, study space. Next slide. Going along Highway 34 is what we hope that building to look like, with that very dominant Ames logo up on the mechanical screening. Next slide. That'll be from the south.
Looking north.
Yeah, driving down Highway 34. Yeah, of course, at night, you have an image of what it looks like at night. So again, very excited for such a building of this presence to really anchor the corner of Southgate and our road into automotive.
Mike, what's the
Yeah,
it looks like a terrarium or something up on top there. I don't think.
Yeah, you're old.
Right there? Yeah, there you go.
So that'll be an outdoor space right out the learning commons.
That outdoor space.
Mhm.
Oh, looks like it's glass.
Yeah, a really nice hangout space for students as well. All right, next slide. All right, so how did we get here? We kind of talked about this with the facilities plan. Again, we brought in an architect May of 20. We started meeting with the steering committee around that same time. And then we started to get into the program with all the different groups represented here, which is always one of my favorite times. And then again, schematic design development. Then starting kickoff meetings with Town of Windsor way early. So we actually did that back in May. And that's been very successful so far. Again, we've had experience with them, of course, with 2 previous buildings. So we're really excited to get involved with them again. And then we're working on our CDs now. You'll notice that some of these dates kind of cross over each other. Again, these are approximate dates for us as far as the schedule. And we're writing, hopefully sending in a permit set to the state. And that doesn't mean the drawings are final. That just simply means we get in the queue. And I think the state has a pretty hefty stack in their queue. So to stick with the schedule, we kind of do this as common practice to get us in there. So again, construction, we're hoping February of 22 through the fall of 23 and open that semester. Next slide. Amy. So one of the things we also asked the architect to do as part of this project was put together kind of a master plan at Windsor. You all know we purchased land all the way to 34, another 15 acres. So this helps us put in perspective really what they were hired for in the master planning initially to make sure we put the building in the right location. Without that, we could have built the building and then would have some challenges down the road. So we felt that was an obligation for that architect to do that for us, and they've done that. We feel we've got the right location for this building. Next slide.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Where is the building?
So Highway 17. Use more mics. Is going to campus automotive.
Right.
Here, PSI. It's right in the corner of something.
It's right there.
Sorry, I see it as.
You're welcome. So next slide. So again, kind of an isometric image of that same campus.
Dr. B, we have talked about, of course, another building here. This is all 34, so this is prime front facing. And so, again, this is just an initial image.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to ask David to step in on a few slides to talk about space, to talk about programming within the walls of the building. And then I'll step back in.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Good afternoon, trustees. So like Mike said, my task is to, after Mike kind of give you a big overview, a little bigger picture of the building. We wanted to zoom in, look at some specific spaces. And we really wanted to highlight the theme of flexibility that we designed into the spaces. So what you have here on the first slide is the arrest control defensive tactics space. And this is on the north end of the first floor of the new building. And that's a space that's intended for the police academy, criminal justice, for arrest control, like I said. And so that's for them to kind of get kind of roughhouse a little bit, if you will, and to learn how to perform an arrest on a non-compliant person safely for themselves and for the other person. But then also the defensive tactics is my understanding that EMS and EMT and the first responders also have like a basic self-defense course that they conduct in the off chance that a first responder ever comes up to a situation where there's you're kind of a dangerous situation. But the flexibility component of this space as well is that all the padding and everything that's in the space for the, like I said, a little bit more of the roughhouse part is removable so that we can bring in tables and chairs and set up the space as a classroom or an event or whatever we could do with it. Okay, next. Okay, next one, we're actually now jumping back over to the PSI building. And then we're looking at two spaces that are existing spaces in that building, but that we are moving the current function of those spaces into the new building. And so we're then backfilling and remodeling, kind of reassigning the space. And so the one to the right is the firearm simulation space. And you can kind of see that a little bit there. That yeah, that's a simulation room that the Criminal Justice and Police Academy will use. But my understanding is that it can also be used for fire science. They can actually set up that simulator to do some different fire academy related simulations as well. And then the other space to the left over my shoulder here is a simulation space that'll be used by fire science, EMS, and criminal justice. And there's a brief and debrief room, the larger room, and there's those three smaller simulation rooms. And so these are both spaces that we don't currently have for these programs, but that they've said they expect that will be very heavily used. So that's it's definitely a great
move for the programs and for the PSI building as well to add those in. Okay, next slide, we're moving on to second floor of, going back to the new building and looking at the second floor there, some aviation programs. And we're showing on the left is the en route or the air traffic control simulated space. And then on the right is the TRACON lab. And those are both, my understanding, those are both air traffic control spaces. But you can see they have this joining space in the middle. And you can see there's a dividing wall between that middle classroom. And that's so that those classroom spaces can be subdivided when each of those simulation classes need to break out and do some academic work, so classroom or study. But then if neither one of those sim classrooms are using the middle joint space, that operable wall can be removed, and then it can be scheduled just like any other classroom. So again, trying to highlight just that flexibility that we're trying to build into the space so that we don't have some dead spaces that are just sitting vacant. Okay, next slide. We're actually jumping up to third floor, and we're looking at the office suite. That is the student services office suite, third floor. And that is showing 10 offices plus a space for Artie's Pantry on the Windsor campus, plus a prayer lactation room. And then you see there's room there for 4 cubicles. And we'll talk a little bit more about that space, I think, in a couple slides. But under the theme of flexibility, we're also doing what are called demountable walls, which we've done also in Welcome Center and Student Commons. And those are not quite your typical drywall hard walls, but they're actually a furniture piece that go floor to ceiling and have doors and everything, so they're enclosed. But it enables us, when the time comes, if a need arises and we need to actually get in there and pretty quickly reconfigure a space, we can do that in about, I don't know, a fourth of the time or less. It's because it's not hardwall construction, so we don't have to go through the permit process like Mike said. And we're designing the space to accommodate that and to make those changes much more quickly. Okay, next space, or next slide, we're actually looking at an overview of first floor of the new building. And we're highlighting there just where that defensive tactics room is in the building. So that's the highlighted area is the north end of the building. So you can see where that room falls in that floor and the sides of it. Okay, next slide. Now we're going up one floor to second floor. And we're highlighting now the student space. Yep, student space is the larger circle kind of plan north on the view, and then the aviation air traffic control spaces are over my right shoulder here. So you see where those sit in relation to each other and in relation to the other spaces. So this next slide is showing again under the theme of flexibility that even those office suites, there's the safe suite, and then there's also another one directly below it on the second floor that's very similar. That's the faculty office suite. And this is definitely way long term, but if the need ever rises way down the road somewhere that we need to convert some of those office spaces into classrooms, we actually design the building in such a way that, for instance, like we actually put the windows strategically in such a place that if we ever needed to reconfigure the floor plan to look like this with additional classrooms, we could come in after the fact and put in our wall and actually build a classroom there. So again, we're trying to design the building in such a way and be strategic, that potentially if the need ever rises somewhere way down the road that we can do that. And I think we got one more. Oh yeah, so that slide just highlighting where those spaces are in the Windsor PSI building that would be backfilling and remodeling. And with that, I'll hand back to Mike to talk about training yard.
So as we wind up our presentation, just want to share, so we are doubling the usable size of our simulated city, our training facility, which everything, so there's our current burn tower. Thank you, David. We're moving everything south. We will continue to work with the town of Greeley, town of Windsor, city of Windsor, town of Windsor, with this roundabout. As we look forward to partnering with them to hopefully vacate that road. We're working with them and a couple of developers that own to the west. We feel that's the best approach where we don't have that intersection there. So anyway, they've been great to work with. We continue hopeful conversations with them. This simulated city is already rotated counterclockwise 90 degrees. And that's going through some of our constructability pricing exercises where we have a very steep lot from west to east, very rolling. So we're taking advantage of some of those as well. Next slide. Again, just another image of doubling the size of that training facility, which is very exciting. I have a lot of fun working with those folks in the public safety groups. Obviously, how could you not be excited about that? So next slide. Again, just some isometrics of what some of those training buildings might look like as we continue our design. Next slide. So this is all that we talked about for this building. The programming that went into this has affected a lot of folks in a positive way. We've gathered so much information from them over the months. It's been very exciting to work with them. Everything from food services to academic offices, the student service folks, the learning commons groups, the classrooms, multi-function like David referred to, and then the program-specific labs through the life safety folks. We've got EMS, we've got criminal justice, we've got fire science, we've got aviation. Again, just a great design of a 3-story building with a lot of flexibility, which is the theme that we continue on. So the training facility, again, kind of a commercial training building, an arrest control simulation building, EMS scenario, which is more of a residential simulation, and then that search and rescue building. So exciting things to come. Just general notes, as we work on the project itself and the design, we also look at the site. What is the growth of the campus? What do utilities look like? We're working with PVREA. There are rural co-op at Windsor, and we're looking to hopefully go to a primary metering system. It's very similar to Greeley, where it's our own system. There are a lot of advantages for Ames in the future for that. And we hope to continue those conversations with them as well. Also, the Highway 34, there was an old farmhouse there. So I guess I abbreviated that, right in, right out, which is very similar to our 54th here at 20th Street. So we're excited for that opportunity as well. Next slide. So it brings us next steps as we continue with our programming and meeting with our steering committee. I won't go through all the details there, but we're actually in the final review for affordability and constructability, and that's happening with our architect and general contractor right now, actually, over the next month. We hope to get another steering committee update here soon. And then again, we go into CD and permit set, like I said, which gets us at least in the queue. We're about probably 12 weeks on review. So kind of do the math on that. That hopefully puts us in that February, March timeframe. So, and then again, opening August of 23. So with that, we'll stand for any questions.
Mike, let me get my speaker on. Get my little stand up here. Wanted to thank you guys for what's going on at the college. Everything is extremely impressive. We're getting great comments from the community. This presentation here was, noteworthy. It's nice to know where everything's at in the orientations. I really appreciate it. You guys need to be applauded for what's going on. Myself, but not such construction. It's very well organized. It seems like you got your ducks in a row. Needless to say, I'm very, very proud of what you're doing that way. On a sidebar question, after the accolades, after we do all our build-in, and this is more of a global college campus question, how many students can we house? Do you think? Have you done the math to that one?
So we're starting to do that. And if I could say that we can definitely follow up with that with you. We're working on that right now. David and Chuck and I have started discussions regarding the use of space, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So promise you some feedback coming soon for that.
Yeah, that would be good. It's just nice to know what our full potential is. So
correct.
I guess there's a target to lop over the top of the hill on the other side for, so that would be good.
Right. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Trustee Wendell.
I just want to say it's amazing what you're doing at the Welcome Center. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen at Windsor, and thank you for pointing out where the building's going to be on that huge plan. I do want to say I know from the city of Fort Lupton. They're very excited to see the Fort Lupton campus grow. And I think there's going to be opportunity there soon. It's coming faster than we can, faster than what we can get going over there. So.
Yeah, we're excited. I know we're in design on that shifting track now with the city of Fort Lupton. Other questions for David or myself, Trustee Peterson?
Mike, I would just ask, I guess it's sort of a silly thing, but I just really, you just decide to build a simulated city and you just do it. I mean, where in the world? I mean, there's got to be some, I don't know, standard or something. I mean, you don't just pull that out of the air, it would seem like. And
Trustee Peterson, we make it up as we go.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Good enough.
Of course, there's higher ed standards, there's building standards, there's so many other standards. But I talked about this early on in our presentation, and what makes this great is we start out with an idea. And that idea doesn't represent a location of the building, the size, the shape, and we build into it based on program feedback. And then going back to Trustee Howe's comment, we would behoove ourselves not to think, and that's part of our jobs. We have to think about how space is utilized, right? We always have to keep that in the back of our mind. So hence some of the renovation in PSI. Why do we do that? Well, all these things add up to the fact that we can't just walk out of the building and leave it that way.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't work. So, a lot of thought is put into all this. We just spend all the time. I would hope we make it look easy, but there's a lot of thought put into it. Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's a great question, Trustee Peterson. And I would add that we also included, as part of the RFP for our design, when we went out for architects, that we asked specifically for architects who had experience designing these kind of training yards. And so there are specific architects firms that's all they do is design these for police academies and schools like us, And so that was a component of our RFP. And so we had Roger LaBeouf, and I forget the name of his firm, but there's a specific architect who that's literally all he does.
Oh, okay. That helps.
Yeah, David raises a good point. We always try to build the best team possible, which includes folks, believe it or not, what they do for a living is they build burn towers and training facilities.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Hey, Mike, I want to know if you're maintaining the same relationship with the weatherman for this that you had with this one.
I'll tell you, Trustee Oxinger, I'm not sure how we've been so fortunate here, but we're rolling with this thing. We're still installing sod, which is unheard of for us. So we've been very fortunate, which makes December 10th that much better for us here in Greeley. So, any other questions for David?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. So this is the time of year that we hear from our HR department for their annual report and our Clery safety and security report. And Dee Schultz is actually going to join us via Zoom. I see her face there. If we could maybe zoom in on Zoom for Dee, if we can. There we go. There's Dee. So Dee, maybe say something to make sure we can hear you.
Good afternoon.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think I was going to put up the annual report, or would I be able to share? Or
Yes, yeah, you should have access to share that.
okay.
Yep.
It looks like I'm disabled, but I will go ahead and get started, and let me know if I'm able to share.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt, but IT is saying that they've enabled that for you now, so you should be able to now.
Oh, perfect. There we go. Well, good afternoon, trustees and Dr. Bornstein. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight for you and the audience, which hopefully includes some of our new employees, the services provided by Human Resources. 10 years ago, HR was a shop of 5 employees who focused on basic HR functions. Since then, HR has had to move into a complex, diverse division based on legislative actions and compliance requirements. HR is now made up of several departments. The HR team provides centralized full life cycle employment services, starting with recruiting, which has become more complex due to state regulations. Other functions include onboarding, benefits, job classification, leave, data management, policy, interpretation, and compliance, on to offboarding, which includes conducting exit interviews and assisting employees with retirement. Performance management functions has transitioned into an employee relations unit, navigating state and federal regulations to provide coaching, performance management guidance, training, and ensures compliance with background checks, drug screening requirements for employees and students. We have Center for Professional Development that started out with one member who managed the annual application submissions for individual staff professional development. Now this unit has added college-wide training from lunch and learns to half-day or all-day sessions, manages and keeps relevant on-demand learning content available for all employees, and implemented a college-wide wellness activities, strategically selecting programs that would have a positive impact on our employee health benefits. The wellness programs have been expanded upon this past year to include the HOPE initiative, which is one of the 5 pillars under the COVID recovery plan with a focus on mental health. Campus safety and security has had a similar transformation over the past 6-7 years and is now a team that manages all safety and security services for the college. They facilitate safety, security related training, organize and conduct routine drills, work with the Dean of Students regarding student safety and security issues, assist Marcom with events, and they've implemented a building coordinators program that solicitates assistance from employees in every building with emergencies and provides, and they also provide on-site oversight of the continuity plans for the entire college. Due to federal and state regulations and compliance, they now provide college-wide environmental health and safety support. The support and scope provided in these areas are necessary in our new environment and requires forward thinking, flexibility, and the ability to react, and in some cases, react quickly. Last year, I had the opportunity to thank all of the departments outside of HR who provided support through this trying time, and would like to thank them again. I never expected to be here in year 2, so I would also like to give a special thank you, acknowledgement to the HR, employee relations, CPD, and campus safety and security for all their efforts this past year. They have done a phenomenal job. I'm not going to take the time to go over specific details on the accomplishments this past year. However, please let me know if you have any questions on any of these items. The data provided is fairly easy to follow. However, I do want to talk a little bit about our turnover rates. And so let me get to that section there for you. We have heard through media reports that there is this great resignation. And we have seen articles come out about employee attrition or turnover and the impact COVID has had in this area. Ames is not immune to this impact. We are currently at 12% turnover within our full-time employee base, and we haven't been at this rate since 2016-17. This 12% rate is still below the average higher ed rate, which has moved up to just under 16%. since 2007 and possibly earlier. And as I had mentioned, part of our offboarding process is to conduct an exit interview with the goal to capture aggregated data to determine if there are trends as to why employees are leaving Ames. This past year, this data is showing some trends related to the impact of COVID. These trends indicate that 15% have left Ames to care for family members, some of which included a move to another state or move back home. Industry influx due to COVID has also impacted our turnover rates, and we've had a high rate of retirement this past year. COVID has had an impact on our recruiting efforts as well. Our average applicant pool size has been reduced from 27 to 12, and in many cases, we are seeing less qualified applicants in those pools. I remember in the past, I've reported some applicant pool sizes as high as 60 to 90 applicants. And now we're extremely excited to have a pool size of 15 or 20. As I mentioned, recruiting and turnover or attrition is a nationwide concern, and we will continue to strategize on how we can manage in this environment. Let me get back over here so I can scroll down here to our last page here. And the last page of this report provides some COVID-related data to include our efforts to support Ames students, employees, and community members by continuing our partnership to provide vaccination clinics and provide space for on-site COVID testing. We just had a vaccination clinic at the PERC, I think yesterday, and I think we had 46 employees, students, and community members participate. So still a great opportunity there. My final comment is to announce to the Ames community a video program titled A Look Back at COVID-19, which was originally going to be the HR's annual report. However, we had the opportunity to share this with you during your retreat. This program was created with the support of Ames students, one of them, which you saw earlier today, Mr. Thatch, and employees, and highlights the challenges and emotions due to COVID over the last 18 months. I would like to give a special shout out of thanks to Jan Cope, Deb Moulter, and Greg Driscoll for producing this program, and to everyone who took the time to share their reflections. Employees will have access to this program in the daily in the next week or so. And that pretty much concludes my report. Do you have any questions for me before I introduce John?
Any questions for Dee? Trustee Wendell has a question, Dee.
Hi, Dee. Wonderful report. I mean, the data is there, and the data is showing that that it is hard to find applicants. Are you doing anything different? Are you talking about doing anything different to bring more people in?
Sure. We look at our marketing tactics, and we are putting a little more time and effort in how we advertise for our positions. And so we're trying to broaden the scope of where we advertise for positions. In some cases, we extend the length of time that we advertise for positions. So those are some of our strategies right now. We'll continue to look to see if there's other things that we can do.
Thank you, Dee. Anyone else? Any other questions for Dee? Okay, Dee, are you going to introduce John?
Yes, I would now like to introduce John Fultz, the Director of Campus Safety and Security, who will present the annual Clery report.
Good afternoon, Chair Otzinger, Dr. Bornstein, and board. This year's annual security report, this is for 2021, although the statistics on there are from 2020. That's how they do the stat reporting. The annual security report, also known as the Gene Cleary report, is a report that we're mandated federally to report on every year on certain statistics that happen on all of our campuses, including if we serve them in an educational capacity. So it includes our early college academy, includes the airport, any campus that we have instructors instructing at. So collecting crimes. What I do annually is reach out to local police departments, and we use the resources of our Weld County Sheriff's Office, our SROs, and to collect stats of any crimes that I'll give you the list of crimes that have occurred, and list those down and document on those on if they're happening on our campus, on our public property, or even our non-property. Our non-property would be considered something like our Ames to UNC program. Any of our students that stay into the dorms over there will be counted on those statistics. 8 types of criminal offenses. I'll just go through those real quick. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. Including alcohol and drug violations. So just because somebody gets caught with alcohol or drug violations, there's certain stipulations to that. Depends on how our Dean of Students, Dean McCaslin, will handle those in our meetings, if they are disciplined or not, or how those are dealt with, as well as on how we report those. Once again, on campus, which considers our campus, any campus that belongs to Ames Community College campus. Non-campus buildings, those would be considered right next to campus, maybe something that's serving at a student capacity. And they're on public property. We are obligated to report a street sidewalk. So if it happens right out here in the street, right next to campus, we're obligated to put it on the campus in the annual security report. Violence Against Women Act. These are statistics that would be working through the Title IX office. So work closely with Stephanie Lucero to make sure we're reporting all those, and our sexual assault, fondling, some of those crimes that are sexual related. So here's the accumulation of all campuses that I put together. Each one, if you saw the annual report that came out, it's about probably like 60 pages long. You got the notification on October the 1st. You can access that on the website under annual reports. But it's just kind of oversight of it right here. Once again, a lot of zeros, which we like to see. So we did have a reflection on our non-campus from a Ames to UNC student in the dorms. So hopefully there's no discussion with Mike Millsaps on dorms anytime soon. But other than that, campus remains to be really safe, and it's really nice to reach out to these local police departments and they get right back to me and say, we don't have nothing to report. Everything seems safe. It's not just a security measure or a reflection of us, but I think it's a measure of our staff, our students, all feeling comfortable and safe to report things and the way we're addressing it through the Dean of Students office and our care team and getting the education out there. It did help to be locked down for half of 2020, but we still had a job to do. It was incorporated with COVID a lot more than doing the security aspect. So I know I went through that really quick, but does anybody have any questions or anything I can answer for you?
Curious, John, I guess a crazy thing, but if there's something that happens on the UNC campus, because we have students that are both UNC and Ames at the same time. So how is that distinguished, or how does that separate? Or do they get counted twice? Because UNC has to probably do this as well, don't they?
Nope, that's a very good question, Chairperson. So we actually, UNC's Cleary person is Rebecca Thompson over there, who works with the UNC Police Department. I have her, we test each other all the time when there's things happening. And then we have what we call like an Ames and UNC meeting where our care team and their threat and violence team, we get together probably every semester. Yeah, Shannon's putting 3 fingers up, probably 3 times a semester, and we go over it. And then Steve Miller from the Ames to UNC that works on our campus, we have it noted on who those students are. So anytime they have a contact, UNC has been really good with following up with us, whether it's through Rebecca or through our police department, through the dean of students, and we're able to handle that. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes they will have to go through 2 processes. They will go through the UNC process, and they will go through dean of students or myself as well. And they're both reflected on both of our clear reports. You're right.
I'll be darned. Okay.
Yes, great presentation. Question, have we had any reports of this current year from 2021? Just because life's a little crazy after COVID. Have you had any incidents?
We haven't had any incidents that fit onto here right now.
Good.
And I'm speaking just far as from the criminal side of things, as far as VAWA with sexual assaults and all that in Title IX. Not that I know of, that would go through Stephanie Lucero, but we have seen a major increase in reports. I know the District 6 is seeing a lot of those as well. We just had one just the other day with a student bringing a fake gun to campus. But we continue to be pretty safe and staying on top of our students that are behaving right now.
John, all those zeros are very, very impressive. So I don't know, do you have a lot of people, do you patrol a lot, or do we just have extra well-behaved kids, or have they heard that you've arrived, or what do you attribute that to?
I wish I could take that credit. Like I said, I don't know if you remember when you guys had a retreat at the country club a couple of years ago. We came and did me and Shannon came and did a presentation with you guys on, I can't remember, what was that game we played with them, Shannon?
Dangerous or disruptive.
Dangerous or disruptive. Ever since that, we've done that training probably with, I'd say almost 70% of the departments across the college, where we're able to get them to kind of report and get things to the care team, which comprises of a lot of us on the care team. We're able to be proactive on how we're dealing with students and hopefully get in touch base to them and get them lined up with the resources before they have to get to something like acting out and doing these things. We have seen a lot of reports, a lot of increase in reports, like Trustee Wendell says, but I think our care team and our staff and everything is being very proactive on giving those resources and helping them out and applying assistance. And that young man that got up here for the spotlight of Ames on what he spoke, I mean, it gave chills to me because I know what we do on the care team for those students like that.
Well, thank you very much.
Just a little bit more. The statistics that you gather come from the sheriff in the city. So does that mean that you guys are not law enforcement? I mean,
so good questions. No, so what we do is because we do have the sheriff's department, that's the good thing with us having our contract with the sheriff's department. We only have currently really 2 campuses, which is our airport and our Loveland campus, that don't fall under the jurisdiction of Weld County.
Right.
So anything that's happening on any other campuses, those statistics are going right to Weld County. I get a report monthly from the sheriff's department showing any crimes that are happening in those areas. But I also reach out to the Fort Lupton PD, Loveland PD, and get the statistics from them because I have to report, for instance, Loveland campus is right downtown. Right across the street from Loveland is a bar.
Yeah,
I've had to reflect statistics from there because they had a sexual assault, even though campus was closed, but after hours, because it's that close to campus. Because part of the clear report, we want to be able to notify our students to see how safe it is to those campuses that they are going to attend.
But the only real law enforcement then is the sheriff or Greeley PD or Fort Lupton PD. I mean, you wouldn't know that a crime has been committed until they tell you.
Yeah, I think that's where I depend on that rapport with those entities. If it happens on campus, I'm usually one of the first ones to know. Whether it's from our SROs or it's from them, they are the only law enforcement that have the capability to detain on our campuses. But because we are private property, we are giving per statute, we can detain until law enforcement gets to campus because we are public property, private property, I'm sorry.
So just for the heck of it, is UNC's police the same way? I mean, do they operate by the same rules as you do, or?
No, they actually have their own police department, pretty much based off of because of the dormitories and what they do, but they still do have to work through Greeley PD for their statistics as well.
Oh.
Yes.
Learn something new every day.
Any other questions for John? Thank you, John. All right, Dr. Sarah Weisgeber, who is back in person with us, would like to give us some updates on the Student Engagement, Inclusion, and Success Division. I tried to lengthen that out as much as possible.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Dr. Bornstein. Hey, everybody. Chair Oxiger, Board of Trustees, Dr. Bornstein, Jerry. It's so great to see y'all in person. And I have a treat for you today because I have some colleagues that are going to share some exciting information with you. And so I just want to lay out the presentation a little bit so that you know what's coming your way. In a moment, I will be asking Dean of Students Shannon McCaslin to come join us and share about the Hunger Free Campus Initiative. After Dean McCaslin presents, I will be inviting another colleague up, Eric Canage, to talk about the Center for Diversity and Inclusion and its success. I will then follow up with an annual enrollment report, giving you a look back at last year, and then give you some really fun numbers about where we are right now in this semester. So with that, you kind of have a game plan of where we're going. Shannon and I are gonna bring all of our energy because we know it's been a long meeting. And so Dean McCaslin, please come on up, my friend, and share your exciting news.
Energy. Wow, we're gonna move that up. I worked at the college for, I was just thinking about this when I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you all about the Hunger Free Campus Initiative. I've worked here for 24 years and I've gotten excited about a lot of stuff through the years. We've done some great things, but I have to say this is in my top couple of things, this Hunger Free Initiative, because the day that we, when I think back to the day that we opened the pantry, was the day Ames students started to receive tangible benefits from the service. We know that students who struggle in the arena of food can't be all in. Their grades suffer, their mental health suffers, they don't have the same supports socially. And we actually just saw in the college climate survey that it was about, I'm losing my place. A full 1/3 of student respondents were struggling to afford food. Even more recently, the SNAP Enrollment Assistance Program we did a couple weeks ago indicated that 25% of those students who were there told us that they bought food that didn't last and they didn't have money to buy more. And that's impacting their bottom line, their completion in college, and our enrollment as well. Enter the Hunger Free Campus Initiative, the project that CDHE is sponsoring to address disparities in food insecurity on college campuses in the state. News of the checklist when it came out from the governor's office in February got everybody really excited. And the reason was that we looked at that checklist and we thought, hey, we're like halfway there. We're halfway there at Ames. And we didn't need the governor and CDHE to tell us what the best practices were. We were doing, now I'm off script. We were doing it. This shows you how excited I am. And so that checklist is the place where our evidence-based best practices are as a map to tell us where to go next in the area of food insecurity. We've got a pantry open. We've got it expanding to satellite campuses. We've got a care program. We've got great student feedback. We just needed, when we saw this checklist in February, we just needed to collaborate and maximize our synergies across departments. So that's what we've done. You'll see in your packet, a snapshot of the project in your packet there, the development of the food sack, which I still laugh about. That's a fun name that Jeff and the other students gave it. The inaugural SNAP enrollment assistance program that we will continue to do. We know we're on the right road. The pantry is busiest it's ever been. So you see the data on your flyer there in your packet. And also want to tell you that we just onboarded some new pantry inventory management software. We were doing this manually up until software came. It allows us to deliver pantry services in 28 languages, which is pretty exciting, and gives the students a click list type of ordering experience that, in my mind, helps reduce some stigma and gives some dignity to the process. There's so much to be excited about. We've been given a space in the newly remodeled student commons complete with refrigeration. I'm so excited about fresh and frozen foods. We're working now with the Weld County Food Bank to get the farm to fresh produce truck on campus once a month, talking with them about the extended satellite campuses as well, and are exploring right now a partnership with the food bank that will allow us to purchase food at a rate that is affordable and can maximize our donor dollars. Now I'm sounding like Kelly. That's pretty good, huh? So the awareness programming continues, SGA, the campus activities programming team, student organizations, everybody's taking up the mantle. You see that the college is doing a common read. It's quite a book around the history of food in the Great Depression. And we're all in, like we're all in right now. And so I'm happy to report, this is probably news to Dr. B as well, that we will soon, based on my assessment of where we're at as a project, we're going to be soon ready, like in the next month, for me to start filling out the application, to submit our application for the designation for the college. And I think, I just looked online last night to make sure, I am hoping we're the first community college to get it done in the state. I know, won't that be exciting? So while I'm not suggesting that we're going to be done in this work, right? The designation is an important statewide recognition of the commitment this college has in supporting the health and well-being of our students. So I want to end with this. I brought cereal bowls. You see that? And there's not all positive. It's not all healthy cereal, but it's some of my favorites. So if we were to sit down and have breakfast tomorrow, I would be sitting with whoever has the Frosted Flakes over there. And I would tell you, okay, I would be with Chair Oxinger. I would tell you a story of a students who have stayed at Ames because of the work our teams are doing around food insecurity. Here's one. I just saw her today. This is a story of an Ames student who's been taking classes at the college for 10 years, working towards a degree. She's stopped out multiple times. That's why I know who she is. And she recently told our pantry team that it's because of the support she receives at the pantry, that now that she's found it, that she gets each week, that she's actually stayed this year. And she will be in her cap and gown in May, graduating. And she credits the pantry. So these supports have helped her finally be all in. And I believe that this project and the bringing together of all of these wonderful pieces of work done around the college is going to help all of our students be more in and hopefully all in. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, questions. Good questions.
Questions for Shannon?
Just,
right.
Isn't there, excuse me, yeah, now I got it. There's another food bank in Weld County, isn't there? Because the one here is just Weld Food Bank, and there's another one in Fort Lupton.
Yeah, is it a satellite of Weld Food Bank? I think it is.
But you think that, I thought it was a separate unit, but anyway, is there any working with them as well as the Weld?
Absolutely, there could be. I wouldn't say that we have yet. We're just really early on a partnership with Weld, but we will absolutely explore. I was excited to see that Mike's plans have us a nice pantry on the 3rd floor at Windsor that I think that we're going to be looking. We've already been talking to Larimer Food Bank as well as it relates to our Loveland campus students as well. So yeah, thank you, Trustee Peterson. We'll look into that.
missed comment, I guess.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Any other questions or comments?
Just great job. Exciting. When we open in January, come on over.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Am I the luckiest or what? These are the folks I get to work with and the projects we get to work on. The next person I would like to introduce you to is Eric Kernarhe. He's actually new to Ames relatively, comes to us from the University of Vermont, and is the director of the Center for Diversity and Inclusion. And he's going to share some really exciting highlights about what we've been doing this last year. Eric?
This up. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me, Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, and good afternoon, colleagues as well. So as Dr. Weisgeber said, I was invited to talk about some of the great things that the Center for Diversity and Inclusion has been doing over the last year or so. And you can see many of those things listed in your board packet. So first off, we celebrated the CDI's 3-year anniversary at the end of October. Yes, the CDI has officially been open for 3 years here at Ames. And we couldn't be happier for the work that we get to do to help students feel welcomed, affirmed, supported, and engaged. Now, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we did have to shift and adapt a few of our programs and services to truly meet the needs of our students and the Ames community. We still offered virtual events via Zoom. We've shifted to socially distant programs that were either outdoors or in larger spaces. And we also had to reduce some of our capacities in the center to really ensure the health and safety of our students. But still today, we've offered in-person programs for the Ames community, while also offering virtual options for those who are more comfortable attending and participating in that way. Now, some really exciting stuff. Since the start of the fall semester and upon our return to being fully back on campus, we saw an immediate increase in student traffic within the center, averaging more than 30 students per day within the first 2 weeks of us being open as a school. And we continue to see anywhere between 30 to 50 unique visits to the center of students using our space and our services. So really great things happening at the center. We piloted our first ever LGBTQ+ student affinity group, offering an informal space for LGBTQ students to connect with each other over pizza, conversation, and shared identities. We have a few more gatherings for the fall and have plans to continue this in the spring. Another exciting highlight, our student veterans organization, Warriors to Scholars, hosted their annual event called 22 Alive, which raised awareness about suicide within the military and veterans community. They had over 50 attendees and over 30 participants partake in a very exhausting circuit exercise challenge that I can attest to doing myself. But it was fun and a great job to our student veterans organization. Through our partnership with the Ames Counseling Department and the VITAL program, the CDI has been able to offer space for our military-affiliated students to receive counseling from a licensed expert on a weekly basis. It has been actively sought out and used by our military-affiliated students, and we are proud to be a partner in the support service and resource. And this week, we are celebrating Military Appreciation Week. So we had some students attend a hockey game. We offered a vet zone training for anyone looking to learn more about our military-affiliated students. And tomorrow, we still have an MRE cooking demonstration where anyone can learn how to make military-grade ready-to-eat meals. So if you are interested, please come through the CDI tomorrow. Now, even more exciting stuff, the spring 2022. Here's what you can expect from us. We are moving. So we are very excited about the new CDI space, which will be on the first floor of the newly renovated Student Commons. A new space allows us to reimagine our work and how we can best serve our students.
we are adding an all-gendered restroom into the space to further support our LGBTQ community, as well as adding a kid zone where student parents can study or relax while their kids are on campus. We have plans to integrate our veterans and military affiliated students into the larger main area of the CDI space, rather than having a separate isolated veterans hub. Our hope is that we can bring to the forefront visual cues, indicators, symbols, and information that more immediately lets our veterans and military affiliated students know they are welcomed into the CDI and they have still a place for them. A few other things. In January, we are collaborating with our friends from UNC, High Plains Library, and the City of Greeley to host the annual MLK Day March in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So please join us if you are available. More information to come. We are also piloting a new initiative called the Latinx Seeds Program, which, as we love our acronym, stands for Latinx Success Through Education, Empowerment, Determination, and Support. The Seeds Program is for any AIMS student who identifies as being Latino, Hispanic, Latinx, Latina, and aims to provide them with peer-to-peer connections, AIMS resources and support services, diversity-related workshops, and professional mentorship. And lastly, in the spring, we have plans to host several workshops for AIMS students, staff, and faculty to learn more about best practices relating to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how to best support AIMS's diverse and dynamic student community. So thank you all again for your time today. Thank you for your continued efforts in supporting the CDI and for always helping to make AIMS a more diverse, a more inclusive, and more welcoming space for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Any questions or comments for Eric? Trustee O'Hara.
Welcome to AIMS.
Thank you.
Welcome to AIMS. I appreciate what you're doing through the CDI program for veterans. How many veterans are actively participating there? And what percent of our veterans are participating?
Yeah, we have a fair number of veterans who are on our campus. And most of those are self-identified through some of our different channels that we have through financial aid and otherwise. So it's not always a completely accurate number of students, but we have a few hundred here that we support and serve. And so the CDI in our events and programs, we have anywhere between 10 to 30 students who come regularly and kind of use our services. Obviously, we're looking at increasing veterans engagement in our work on all of our campuses. And David Bissell, who's our military affiliated program coordinator, is really doing some excellent work, reaching out to some of the satellite campuses and bringing our efforts to them as well to engage more of those veterans.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things that really bothers me is the subject of suicide amongst our veterans. So does the number of veterans seeking help relative to suicidal thoughts or whatever, is it increasing or decreasing?
That's a great question, Chairman. I do not have an answer to that one. I can check with our licensed expert who's coming in, Dr. Delia Sosa. My hope is that because we've seen a fair amount of student veterans use her services and come in on a weekly basis, that students are finding out more about how to talk about their experiences, how to talk about some of the trauma that they might have experienced serving our country. So I'm hoping that that increase in those visits to the CDI means that more students are utilizing our services and that more students are getting the help that they need. But I can get more information on that as well.
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate the efforts that you do put forth into helping those young men and women who need help. So thank you.
Trustee Hout.
Chair, just real quick, it brought me to mind, I did attend one of the sessions I talked about was for veteran services at Utah State Community College System. They had like up to 900, there was 900 vets that were in their programs between all their campuses, but long to short, and this might be a Sarah question too as well, if everybody can hear me, on the veterans benefits and tuition and things like that, when they have programs and things like that, there's got to be a certain amount of due diligence that's played into their guidance regarding classes to take that are qualifying in the program, because there's a lot of times if you don't get the right number in the box, you don't get the money for the box. And does your program look into that, or is that more into guidance specifically, or is there a combination of that?
Sure, there is a combination of a little bit of all of that, Trustee. So what we do in the CDI is really looking at the engagement and retention of our veteran students in terms of their classes and their pathways and how that works with the benefits. Our center doesn't exactly do that for them. They do work with the other campus partners here through financial aid. And so we have a veterans team or committee that we kind of put them all in connection with. And so they work together to help that student determine the courses, how that applies to their benefits. And then they come see us to get engaged and find the connections and community.
So those counselors have special interests and capabilities as far as making that work that way. How about homelessness?
Yeah, I think that's.
Do you have? We probably have some students on a percentage, yeah.
Yeah, we probably do. And I think that is absolutely an initiative and something for the CDI and for our campus to look at, because we know that college students, not just in terms of food insecurity, but housing insecurity. So that is also a real issue. And so there are definitely some things that we can learn and do better. And housing insecurity can be one of those.
Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Sarah. You're good? Okay, that was all I had to say. I just, I know there's some critical needs that are important, because the last thing you want to do is get a bill. I thought this was covered and it wasn't covered. And, it's just one of those things that it would be neat if we had some backup scholarships for those holes in the fence that would happen. I'm sure we could figure something out. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
So does anybody else need a quick break?
I would recommend you take it now. This is a long discussion.
Let's take 10 minutes. Okay.
Meeting over.
It'll be safe.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm.
Whoa. Sure enough.
All right.
Okay, I think we're back from break.
The next part of the SACE report is the Ames Community College enrollment report for 2021. That is last academic year. So not this academic year, last academic year. There are 5 sections to this report. We're going to move through them pretty quickly. We look at the data from a college-wide perspective. We look at it from students who are declared in liberal arts, students who are declared in CTE, high school and dual enrollment students, and non-degree seeking students. So that kind of orients you. The purpose of this report is not for you as board members to get stuck in the statistics. The purpose is so that you get an overall sense of who our students are, so that as you're out talking with your constituents, you can speak to that. And so I've highlighted some pieces that I think are interesting through my analysis, and I hope that's helpful for you. So as we look at Ames Community College total enrollment for the 2021 academic year, you're going to see our total head count, our total FTE, what that looked like on each campus. I will say, as we talk about this, I said it all last year, and I'll say it again, there was a 10% COVID factor. So from year prior to this year, so 1920 to 2021, there was a 10% COVID factor, meaning that we were 10% down in our enrollment in almost every area. This next slide gives you an idea of, as college-wide, where our students are coming from by head count in terms of county. I thought this would be interesting for you, looking at the number of students we serve in Larimer County, but the large majority of our students are served through Weld County. If we break it down a little bit further, look at the city, we see Greeley continues to be our main campus. Interestingly, we have, Loveland, Fort Collins, Windsor, all up in those 500 ranges. So it's exciting to see us growing throughout Northern Colorado. In terms of credit hours, one thing I'd like to point out is that 52% of our students college-wide take under 15 credit hours a year. For degree and certificate seeking students, that's going to take them a long time to complete. And so this is an opportunity for us. We looked at enrollment by race and ethnicity college-wide in the academic year 2021. We were at about 33% Latinx, which is a real achievement for us as we continue to move forward. Age and gender, 88% of our students are between 18 and 34. Holy smokes, what happened? They got younger on us for real this time. We still see women outpacing men in college, in college going, though. As we dig a little bit deeper, you're going to see where that changes around gender. So what? So what's the biggest takeaway for you to think about in terms of, let me make sure we got Artie up there. One thing that's important for you to remember as Board of Trustees is that we had about a 10% impact from COVID in our enrollment. Pretty straightforward. So our liberal arts students, you see, our liberal arts students are one of our largest cohorts of students. They account for, 2,800% or 2,800 head count and 1,500 FTE. We see Greeley is a huge carrier of that. In 2021, however, look at those online numbers. We see online emerging in a really, really exciting way. Again, we look at head count by county. Weld County for liberal arts, our Weld County students are common Ames. Trustee Oxford.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt, but that online thing,
Sorry, thanks. That online number, do you anticipate that going back down as we get away from COVID?
I think we're gonna see things shake out a little bit. I think we're gonna see things shake out a little bit, to be honest with you. A lot of our students prefer to learn in person. There's another group of students who are like, oh, I kind of like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be as high as it was in 2021 because of the academic changes that Dr. Rothmer and the faculty had to make. But it's not going anywhere. And remote learning, not going anywhere. So those are exciting numbers to see as we continue to diversify the way we offer education. Does that, okay?
thank you.
Okay, cool. So liberal arts students are mostly from Weld County. We see a different number here than we saw college-wide. So when we break it down, that tells us something, that we're really strong at our home base. If we look at it by city, Greeley's not, this is a very long list. I shortened it for you. Greeley is only about 26% of our liberal arts students. So we see more diversity in where our liberal arts students are coming from. Again, we see this credit hour issue. 52% of our liberal arts students are taking under 15 credit hours. If we look at that all together, we can see we're up in the 90% of students who are taking less than full time a year. That's a challenge for us. Here's something interesting. So remember, we look college-wide at our race and ethnicity. Now we have, looking at just our students who are majoring in liberal arts, 41% of those students identify as Latinx. That's the highest number of Latinx students that we have in any student group. The majority of these students are 18 to 21. These are the students who are working on an AA degree. They want to transfer to a four-year institution. Look at our gender, however. Our gender breakdown, what we're seeing is women are pursuing an AA degree more than men. We have an opportunity here. And I think as we work toward enrollment and we work with marketing and we work for some of those things, I think we can really highlight what that can mean for our young men in the community. Again, when I take my takeaway from this, the most significant number is the difference between men and women pursuing an Associate of Arts degree. So we need your help in encouraging young men to really explore that as a viable option. One of the things I love most about Ames is our CTE programs. I think it's where we absolutely excel and just really are at our most competitive academically. One number I'd point out to you here is look at our Windsor campus just rocking and rolling with our CTE students. Very exciting. Here again, we're seeing Weld County as our main base where our students are coming from. In terms of city, Greeley's still ranking pretty high, but we see folks coming from Loveland, most likely to Windsor for CTE. Okay, so that's exciting. Here's where it gets interesting. We saw the overall college and we saw, the liberal arts. Well, CTE is a very different type of education. So when we're looking at how many students are CTE students taking, these students are the ones who are taking in total more credit hours Their programs tend to be shorter. They have stackable certificates. And so the way the courses are designed and the programs are designed really allows students to move forward and take more credits at one time. It's an incredible model that our faculty have designed. In our CTE programs, we're seeing a decrease in our Latinx students here, increase in our white students, but we're also seeing a little bit of increase in students of color in general. So I think that's good. Our age group changes. Our age group changes. So if we look, we have 22 to 49, our biggest age populations for CTE. These are folks who are coming back to retool. These are folks who are wanting to do something with their career. So I think it's super exciting that we have this and can continue to grow. When I look at the gender difference here, typically, if we look back historically, women are underrepresented in CTE programs. I'm not seeing that here. It's really exciting. Granted, we have an incredible allied health program. We have an incredible nursing program. But what I'm seeing is, and we see it all the time, our students, the opportunity for diversity within our classrooms that are traditionally male is changing. And I think we owe a lot of that to our faculty. So takeaway here, if you know folks who are wanting to retool, get a new job, figure out something new, send them names. They will be in a community of people who are their colleagues, their cohort. They don't have to worry about coming back and sitting in a room with just younger folks. They will be people who can help them. Speaking of younger folks, talk a little bit about our high school concurrent and dual enrollment. You see, our high school concurrent and dual enrollment, and I've said this before, they are a huge portion of our head count. And I have this Disney movie in my head, but they're a little bitty part of our FTE, right? And that's just because high school students take one or two classes versus a traditional student taking more classes. So this head count, however, is significant for Ames as we move forward. We look at where folks are coming from. Again, Webb County is significant. I feel like this really shows us that we're serving our community in a meaningful way. Some of the cities here I thought were interesting to share with you. Our reach is getting wider. Our reach is getting wider with this population of students and high schools that want to work with us. Dr. Rothamer, there he is, has some super cool stuff that he's working on as it relates to high school programs. And I think it's because of that innovative work that that we're starting to see us expand more in that direction. As far as credit hours, we see 84% taken under 15 credit hours. That makes sense. These are kiddos, they're 17, 18, 16. That makes sense that they're taking high school classes and college classes. I think we have an opportunity here. We look at our Latinx students and our students of color. In our liberal arts program, we're at 41% Latinx. CTE, we're at 30%. High school dual enrollment, we're at 29%. I really feel like we have an opportunity here through recruiting to really target our students who are less likely to go to college, which tends to be our Latinx students, and find ways for them to be more engaged in concurrent and dual enrollment.
Sarah?
Yes, sir.
Now, we're picking up a percentage of those students between 22 and 30, right? Their ages, because they come back to retrain and do whatever.
Correct.
And they're in that zone. I agree that you can capture. It'd be nice if you didn't have to wait until they're 22 to 30, but that would be the ideal for their career tracking. How is the guidance support at the high schools relatively effective as far as your concurrent programs and things like that? How do you feel about their participation?
We're continuing to expand our concurrent programs. the infrastructure and support for high school concurrent. On the SAFE side, I think Dr. Rothmer's area has done an outstanding job of building relationships with the community. We've had an incredible boom this last year in high school concurrent. In the SACE area, we're working more on infrastructure to be able to provide folks who can better support the high schools and support the high school programs over in academic affairs. So I think we are building a strong foundation to move forward.
Okay, thank you.
We're not seeing a whole, it's closer than, this is closer than when we're seeing anywhere else. This is great for the future. This is great for the future. We're seeing young men and young women doing college in high school. And so I looked back in this. I wanted to see where were we 10 years ago. And here's a really cool fact that you can share with your constituents and all the folks you're meeting with. The Ames concurrent dual enrollment program has grown 75% in the last decade. They're doing incredible work. So non-degree seeking students, Trustee Peterson, Dr. Peterson always says, what about those students who are just here to take a class? And that's success for them. And I love that. I love that question because that is absolutely true. You can see we don't have a ton of those students. We have under 1,000 non-degree seeking students. You know, they're pretty spread across our areas. In Weld County, it's our highest, you know, 78%, goodness. People know Ames for non-degree seeking. We're still seeing non-degree seeking being primarily in Greeley as our home base. Here, we're seeing, look at the number of people who are taking under 15 credits. 93%, holy smokes. These are students who are here taking photography and different non-credit offering. You know, I mean, these are folks who are you know, really interested in that. If we look at race and ethnicity, we see this is our lowest population of folks who are not white. However, if we look at age, here's one thing I want to point out. These folks, these are our lifelong learners. These are our lifelong learners. And based on these statistics, it appears that women tend to outpace men as lifelong learners at this point. So I think we have an opportunity there. 97% of these students take less than 15 credits a year. So the purpose of this presentation was to give you some easy things to talk about in the community, give you a sense of what enrollment looked like last year, and give you an ability to kind of think about where opportunities are and how does the board strategically lead the college. And so with that, I hope it felt helpful. I am absolutely open for questions at any point. I know I went fast intentionally. So I would take questions on this at this point before I give you a little snapshot of where we are this semester. Trustee Howe.
Is there any way to have that? Sarah, great numbers, a lot of effort, I know, but is there a way that you can take those, I don't know, what is it, 40 slides?
Yeah.
I can't remember that.
And condense it down maybe into a one-pager for you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That would be great. That's easier to sell. Then I got a poster I can tack on the wall.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll take those what
facts. A little
facts.
tiny print, but I think you can figure out a way to kind of.
Oh, I'm magic.
I know.
So,
I know but that's the only suggestion. Thank you for making that consideration.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's possible. Yeah, I got Heidi on board, so we got 2 votes right now.
Great.
We might get a third. We got a deal.
Other questions on the enrollment?
I just have
Dr.
to
Peterson.
say thank you for non-degree statistics. God dang, finally got it.
I was thinking about you. And you know, it's an important part of our community.
Yeah, well, it is. And it's very important. I guess sort of something, I know you're comparing different groups using the same statistics and measures, but it'd be interesting to know how much below 15 credits. Most of those, I mean, is it 3 credits, is that it? Just one class or?
My intuition tells me it's between 3 and 6 credits. Most people don't take classes over the summer. They might take a 3-credit class in the fall, 3-credit class in the spring. They might take, here's a great example. And I think this goes for many of us and our partners. My partner takes a gym class every semester,
Sure.
And I think that's what we're finding. We have state-of-the-art facilities and classrooms and technology. And this is a real opportunity for us, this population.
Wow. And just, I'm looking at the non-degree students' age. And why is the bar 28% longer than 30%?
Trustee Peterson,
I look at that and think, wait a minute, what is going on?
Detailed person or what?
It takes more bar to get a.
Well, I appreciate that you noticed that because I didn't.
That one's great. Don't want to hang on, keep us on our toes.
Exactly, Trustee Howe. I'm trying to make sure you all are paying attention.
There you go.
Thank you.
I just want to, I think because of this COVID thing and some of the questions that have been posed, I think it'd be interesting to see sort of a comparison of some of these things a year from now.
Yeah.
And see what the outcome of COVID, assuming I'm being optimistic, we're going to come out of this. So once we're out of it, I think it'd be interesting to see those differences.
My hope is to bring you this report every year so that you get that big picture sense of where we're at. And we can absolutely do that. We're tracking it very closely. If there are no more questions, I'd like to jump into where we are because I think that your hopefulness brings us forward. So last documents in your report are just the college enrollment update that I provide monthly. I wanted to share with you some important goals or some important dates so that you could be aware of what we're working toward. I also wanted to share with you the super complicated predictions. I call her Georgina. She's AI technology in making statistics. But these are our predictions for spring. And we set our predictions we set our goals based on our predictions. So if you go to page 2 of this, you'll see what our enrollment goal is and what our current enrollment status is. You also notice that status was as of October 26th. So as of today, yesterday, we have 2,961 students who are currently enrolled in the retaining. We have 35 students who are enrolled in high school concurrent. No concern there. In terms of recruitment as an overall effort, we have now recruited 236 students. 14 of those students are transfer in. 157 are previous high school concurrent, which is super exciting. And new students to Ames is 65. So right now we have 1,500 students enrolled for spring semester. We're 28% toward goal. We're going to start seeing things increase.
I can't find this.
She's actually reading different numbers than what you have in front of you because what you have in front of you was given a week before when this packet was put together.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, I apologize.
What's that?
So this document,
It's page 142 in your diligent.
142, okay.
But there are different numbers that she's reading.
yeah, I'm giving you the update as of yesterday versus the update as of October 26th. The reason I'm providing that update is because these numbers are much better and much more exciting. This was after the first week of classes or first week of enrollment. We're now a couple weeks in, 3 weeks in. So the thing I'd like for you to remember here is that we've reached at this point 28% of our goal. Important thing to remember is that new student registration only began on November 2nd. This is exciting. This is exciting. We are outpacing where we were last year significantly. We are starting to see it level off a little bit. But we're making a lot of headway early on in the semester. So that's exciting for where we'll be in spring. Now that I've thoroughly confused you by giving you numbers that are not on your sheet because I talked really fast.
Till I found them.
Till you found them. I apologize for that. Is there anything general that you'd like to ask about where we are with enrollment currently?
Trustee O'Hara. The transfers in, I'm not sure where are they transferring in from?
So those are students who are coming from different schools and transferring to Ames. So maybe from UNC, maybe from Front Range. These are students who have been at a school somewhere else and they're coming to Ames.
Okay.
This is Mike.
Yes.
How is the percentage of students online compared to where we were last year?
Who are registering for classes online? Interesting. I don't know. Let me find out for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's a great question.
Because that kind of leads into what I think Mark or Dr. Peterson said about.
Yeah, where are we going?
Right.
Where are we going? Yeah, that's a great question. I'm happy to get that information back to you. And I was certainly happy to try to explain enrollment prior to, or however that works as you work with Dr. Bornstein to make sure that that you feel like you have a strong understanding of enrollment at Ames and where we are as we move forward.
Any other questions for Sarah? Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Okay, I know it's been a long day. We're at the comments from the president. First, obviously, before I take any questions about the meetings of note. I know our conversation about my contract renewal was a challenge. However, I am heartfelt and would like to give heartfelt thanks to the board for continuing that contract. I'm excited, certainly love working with Ames and look forward to all the exciting things that we're going to be continuing to do. So, so thank you again. And also absolutely want to thank each and every employee at Ames for everything that they do, because we do it together. So thank you very much. And on that note, you have in front of you, these are just community meetings of note just from the last couple of weeks. So if you have any questions there, I'm happy to address those. And then I think we do have someone here who wants to introduce a new employee. Any questions on meetings of note? No. Okay, whoops. And we also have the employee report. And I think we have a supervisor here who would like to introduce their employees. So if you want to run up there and give a brief introduction.
Running out of batteries.
We have another one. Oh, no.
Got another one? Just like the other one? Keep going. I'm just kidding.
I'd like to introduce the foundation's newest employee. As we all know, Ames has a way of deeply embedding in our lives and our community and hiring stellar staff. The foundation is proud to be the recipient of a most recent stellar staff. Our newest employee is a Harvard grad and deeply rooted Greeleyite. She fills our database manager annual fund administrator position. It's listed as business specialist. We like the fancier name because that's really what she does on a daily basis. She's already completed her Razor's Edge certification, which is our donor database certification. Please welcome to the foundation, Andrea Martinez, our newest employee.
Thank you, Kelly, and welcome. So I believe that concludes the president's report for the day. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that report. That was a lot. Okay, next on the agenda is comments from board members. Who'd like to lead it off? Heidi,
I always like
volunteering.
Well, I always like to do it, so I'm done. Because everyone has very good things to say. I was just really excited about that we were able to pass the new exercise and health nutrition certificate. I think that's just, I mean, that makes sense. And I'm very excited to see the possibility of the new website type potential class or degree that's going to hopefully be going through the pipeline. Very excited, Kelly, about the potential donor for the naming. That's just amazing. So congratulations. I know you've been working hard on that. Let's see what else I had. Oh, I had no idea that Dee had to do so much. So hats off to her. That was amazing. And the Hunger Free Campus, I'm very excited about. And I struggled real quick with the contract just because I felt like I needed a little bit more time. Still new, felt like I needed to be able to ask easier questions and quicker, but it could have been me. But I looked at it hard, and I think a lot with data and everything, but it also goes to what my heart says as well. And I think you're doing a very good job, Dr. Bornstein. The data's there, the numbers are there. I think everything's flowing well. And I'm excited for you to be here. And hopefully I'll be here with you as well.
But I thought it was a very informative, well-structured meeting. I'll just add that my concerns over the contract had nothing to do with my opinion on how Ames is doing. Ames is doing very well. I think the leadership team is doing very well. I just had concerns about my role in representing taxpayers and making sure that we did our due diligence on the contract. So just continuing on, I'm so impressed on how well we plan and the organizational structure behind our building and construction programs. Very impressive. Mike and his team do a great job, and Chuck in overseeing that. So good job. Keep it up.
I guess it's my turn. I would just echo some of the comments that have already been made and already said that Dr. B, I'm glad you're going to stay for another 5 years, even though I won't be here to help out or to be a part of it, but I'll guarantee you I'll be looking and watching. So watch your back, you know. So. The other thing that I would say is I thought maybe she would be here today, but I want to publicly, and I'll give it probably another chance to do it the next meeting, but give a shout out to Marilyn Schock, I believe her name is, who is going to take my place on the board. And I think she will find this as rewarding and satisfying as what I do. I believe she'll be a good member and an asset to the board. So I look forward to welcoming her next month, I guess, as a member of the board. So.
Right. Yeah. We're so fortunate to serve our 700 plus employees and whatever number of students we have. And when we have them, and we're so fortunate there. You know, it's not just Lyle and Dr. B, it's not just Ray and me, it's not just Gene and Heidi. We're just stewards. We don't get to really experience what you all experience with this college. And we are so proud of that because what we are doing is monumental. What this county has in its wealth is only shown here in what it provides. So we're a very wealthy county and we do very well to supply great things and great measures. And what you're doing here is very great work. I've always been impressed. Can we do more? We're always trying, you know, and that's we're always trying. You know, can we improve that percentage point? Just 1 point? Yeah, we'll go for it this year. COVID set us back, but oars never left water. And we kept the handles dry, which is an interesting concept if you think about it. And so I'm very proud of what you have. On another note, you know, everybody's talked about the contract, you know, and I see rain clouds with no rain. People who justify their needs with a front of sunshine and blue skies do succumb to the heat of the sweat of the masks they wear. With that being said, I'll take this back here. I'm going to drop my mask and show a smile. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very proud of you all. I'm going to work with Dr. B at our sessions and we'll have more. And I'm very happy to be here and representing my district, my constituents, and this community college in whatever format I can. I'm very proud of what Kelly does, what all of you do. And so the smile is on my face. Might be a tear, but we'll get over it. We do that with pride. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mark. Well, I thought it was a great meeting. The presentations we get, the data we get is incredible. And not sure we always think about, I'll speak for myself, all of the work that goes in to putting all that together, to present it to us here, to give us a picture of where this college is going. And it's going great places, hence all the comments that we hear from all of our trustees and from the public. I hear incredible comments from the public, our constituents, all the time about where Ames is going and what it's doing. And we hear from students. So I too am incredibly proud of what the college is doing and where it's going. Today we heard from Sarah and her folks about what they're doing for veterans. Tomorrow being Veterans Day, I think it's appropriate that we recognize our veterans. I want to give a big shout out to everything Ames has done for veterans, to see that they get the help they need, to see that they get the education they're asking for and requiring. And we do everything we can possibly do to see that they're taken care of. So thank you for that. I just want to say that I've got an exciting thing coming up. I've got 2 county commissioners going with me to the airport to see what we've done over there at the airport. So
That's a coup.
yeah, I'm not, I mean,
We won't name those commissioners.
Oh, no, I'll be happy to name them. Commissioners Freeman and Moreno are going with me. So, which is maybe even more, but anyway. So I'm very, very pleased. So we're going over on the 17th. Eric is going to be there. He's going to give the tour. And so I'm really excited about that. I know that they're going to be very impressed to see what we've actually done with our program over there. And so again, very excited. So, and then one last thing, congratulations, Dr. B, on the renewal of your contract. Very, very pleased. I certainly look forward to working with you in whatever capacity I'm able to. And very, very pleased with the way the college is going. I can't say enough. And I know you're going to support the way. Congratulations. So anyway, that's my comments. So next is assessment of the board meeting. I think we see that every month. We're very familiar with all of the different categories there. And so I would just ask, just in the interest of expediting our meeting here, do any of you have any concerns in any of those areas or want to make any comments on any of those areas about the meeting today? No? Good. Okay, well, I'll make one. I think the meeting went well. I think we learned a lot. I think we had some challenges. We overcame them. We'll move forward. Certainly everybody had an opportunity to speak, and when we speak, we'll speak with one voice, as we should. So I wish you well. I wish you a great evening, and with that, still water. Meeting adjourned.